Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the game between the Barbarians and Wales. This is going to be an enthralling contest. The Barbars side made up of players from Australia, Fiji, New Zealand, and Wales. They have got Alun Jones. They have also got a man at number 6 by the name of Justin Tipuric. It's going to be interesting to see how they go on their final matchup against their home nation. There are a couple Welsh players who are on the verge of retirement as well, but looking through at the starting lineup for, first of all, the Wales side. They are the home side in this game, so we will look through at what they have got on the field. Corey Domachowski at number 1, Dewey Lake at 2, and then Fairbrother gets that opportunity at number 3, a massive opportunity on debut for the youngster. Well, he's not that young, but young in his international career anyway. Big opportunity, see how he can go. Up against the Barbars, Carter and Beard will be the lock and duo. Dan Lydia at number 6, Jack Morgan number 7, one of the workhorses for Wales throughout this Rugby World Cup that has just gone by. Now Wales, they'll be a bit disappointed with how far they made it. They made it out of the group stages. They were top of the table, but then they were beaten by Argentina, who have got a little bit of a injection into this Barbarian side with Nicolas Sanchez. At number 10, Aaron Wainwright will be at number 8 to close out this Welsh fullback, but they're still a physical bunch, and I'm sure they'll try and use that throughout this game. It is a very hard balance to get right when playing the Barbarians. Do you play their own game, or do you play a little bit more of that, stylistic, fan-friendly style of rugby? And I feel like this Welsh side does actually have the ability of being able to do both, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do here. Thomas Williams at number 9 with Sam Costello getting a start at number 10. Of course, we are the post-Dan Biggar era, which means that they need their next fly half. Costello in the game up against South Africa before the Rugby World Cup did look relatively solid, and he seems to be a good option going forward, maybe alongside Gareth Anscombe as another option at 10. Johnny Williams at number 12 with George North at number 13. Rio Dyer, Tom Rogers, and Lee Halfpenny. They will be the back three. This will be Lee Halfpenny's last game, so a massive chance for him to show everyone just how good he is. I actually felt that he played very well throughout the Rugby World Cup, maybe even not given enough opportunities to be able to show what kind of player that he was. But in the chat, we have got their morning from Yvonne, of course, and also how was the week? Oh, but no Rugby World Cup, don't you think? It felt a little bit weird, I'll be honest, although because we were up to that stage of only 2 games a weekend, I guess we had slowly got used to the fact that there was going to be slightly less international rugby around. I'm glad that we got this game between Wales and the Barbarians, though, because at the end of the day, who doesn't love a bit of international rugby? And the amount of international players that we see in this Barbar side, a few injury returns along the way as well, mainly looking at Lee Nikotau, number 13, someone the Wallabies would have absolutely loved to have throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign. Should be a pretty awesome one. And also in the chat, we have got the donation from Franz Smith. We have got there for sheer dedication 3 hours before sunrise. Says Franz there. Yeah, I am watching on what's it called? SC4 or something like that. So the commentary is all in Welsh. I have no idea what they're saying, if I'm being quite honest. But we have somehow got it working. Took about 2 hours to try and get set up. And that was about 4 hours ago before I went to sleep. So we're doing all right. It's going to be a good game, hopefully. Alun Jones, the Barbarians captain, going up against his own home side at the Principality is going to be a massive moment for him. But thank you very much for that donation, mate. Hugely appreciate it. What is the meaning of this match? Says Mono Lagrange. It is like any game for the Barbarians. And, you know, whether you like Eddie Jones or hate him, he described it perfectly. This is about showcasing rugby. And this is about trying to enthrall the fans who have turned up and also those watching around the world. I would like to say I'd love if there was more way of watching this game than just BBC iPlayer as well as S4C or whatever it was called that I had to sign up for to be able to watch this game. Like having it in Stan, having it in Sky would have helped massively in terms of getting the name of this game out there. Hi, Hamish says, Connor, welcome in. You are doing extremely well. Tahana has also said hi, welcome in too. And Afternoon Man says Richard. And Halfpenny's last game in the Northern Hemisphere before coming to the Crusaders. Only 4 years until Halfpenny can play for the All Blacks. Says Ian Foster there, and come on the mighty Barbars, take it to them Welshmen. Says Ian, although they've got a bit of a problem because they've got a couple Welshmen in their side, the Barbarians. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two players and Tipuric as well as Alun Jones go up against their host nation or their home nation, because they will know quite a bit about a lot of these players. They'll have that insider knowledge that might make it relatively tricky for them to be able to get through. And Caleb Clark was not given a chance, absolutely criminal. Rika Ioane plays better with Caleb Clark, is playing especially against South Africa. Says chronic underachiever, although I know that they tried Caleb Clark out on the right wing throughout their Rugby World Cup. Not given a huge amount of opportunities, as you said, although the problem that they had with Clark was he was terribly out of form as they headed into this Rugby World Cup competition. He was actually very lucky to even get selected in the All Blacks because of the, I guess, bad season that he had for the Blues. But I still would have liked to see him get one or two more chances just to see if he did have that form starting to get going a little bit. Oh, someone's on the commentary, just went, but that is actually a part of the Welsh language I have learnt from the last about 5 minutes of listening. There's quite a bit of going on. Is Gatlin the ongoing coach for Wales, or is he moving on? I think he's going to be sticking around by the sounds of it for Warren Gatlin. And to be honest, he's done extremely well with this Welsh side compared to where they looked like they were going to be before the Rugby World Cup, with all the information that was coming out about the Welsh Rugby Union. Like, he was probably their little bit of a shining light in terms of the fact that he didn't ditch them. Unlike, of course, one of the Barbarians coaches, Eddie Jones, threw the Wallabies in the deep end and then let them sink to the bottom. But this is the Barbarian side, co-coached, of course, by Eddie Jones as well as Scott Robinson. A lot of people were excited to see what he can do with another Barbarians team. Joe Moody at number 1, Tavita Ikanaveri 2, and Taniela Tupou, the Tongan Thor, there as number 3. Rob Leota, and of course, Alwyn Jones. Huge amount of experience for him. He has retired from international duty, but that does not mean he isn't going to be going head-to-head with the Welsh. In this matchup, Justin Chipperick at number 6, Michael Hooper number 7. I'm wondering what the dynamic is between him and Eddie Jones, and then Rob Valentini slotting in as the number 8, Simeone Kuravuli, a fantastic number 9 for the Fijians, as well as the Fijian draw. I feel like he's going to bring a lot of X-factor, definitely when given the opportunity to play Barbarians rugby. That free-flowing, balls to the wall, nothing to lose mentality could be absolutely awesome. In this match, Nicholas Sanchez, number 10. It's going to be cool seeing him go alongside a few of these other players. The last time he's played a lot of these guys was in international rugby. But I feel like Nicholas Sanchez, maybe he has also got a little bit of flair up the sleeve that he will be showing throughout this game. Isaiah Parisi and Len Ikitau, midfield combination. Ikitau recently returning from his injury. Unfortunately missed the whole of the Rugby World Cup, which was absolutely gutting for the guy. So I'm glad he gets this opportunity here to play for the Barbarians. Celestino Ratamanda out on that left wing. Sean Stevenson out on the right. Perhaps a little bit of a trial under Robinson for the future All Blacks. And then Eliza Drua Cece to close out the starting lineup. He will be at number 15. And what should be a pretty awesome game. Pretty awesome lineup. We are only a few minutes away. When are you going to do a USC match? Zebra versus Bulls is on the go, if I'm not mistaken. Says Monet Lagrange. Well, the thing is, this game was overlapping with that match, so we weren't going to be able to do both, sadly, due to the fact that they're on at the same time. But we've already done a URC game, of course, this weekend, so that is why we're doing this Barbarians Wales game. We've got the game tomorrow night with the Lions playing, so yeah, the Bulls is one of those ones that, sadly, they were the team that were playing at the same time. We also have to miss Leinster versus Edinburgh, which I think will be one of the best matches of the weekend. Deadly front row, deadly back row, deadly midfield, deadly outside back trio. And that is a stacked team, says Ian Foster. Also, we have got the I was here, has said GG, and hello, back again, says Happy in the chat. But yeah, it is greatly appreciated you all being here for these matches that are taking place in the middle of the night here in New Zealand, or a nice afternoon game for you guys. And 35 points to 22 for the Bulls in the 61st minute, says France Smith. And did you catch Canada versus France last night in the World XV? Great game, says it was Ian Foster. I did not, sadly. I did see the result of England versus New Zealand. We were originally going to be covering that game on the channel, but I went out for a birthday tea with my dad. I felt like that was the better choice to be able to do. So, yeah, we missed that game. I also saw the score in the Rugby League, which I don't think was anywhere near what anyone would have been predicting for New Zealand versus Australia. The two sides up there on the field now, getting ready to go for this matchup. We have got the last post being played at the moment by the sounds of it at the Principality Stadium. It looks pretty packed, other than maybe right up in those top corners. Oh no, there's the top section's actually not full. It's a shame. I feel like a Barbarians game normally attracts a lot of attention. Yeah, the Black Ferns got pumped. England 2 professional at the moment. So here's Ian Foster, and will the Fenberg guy from the Stormers replace Pollard if Libbok does not improve for the Box? Says chronic underachiever. Well, that's the thing. Like Marnie Libbok, like people are obsessed with saying he's a bad player, and I have no idea why. Because when you look at the amount of tries that South Africa have scored since Marnie Libbok took that helm off Andre Pollard, it is massive. Like, just if you can find a way of Marnie Libbok being in the side, but he doesn't have to have those kicking responsibilities, or the kicking does improve. Like, at the end of the day, last game that we saw play, he actually got 3 from 3, but no one really talks about that one because at the end of the day, everyone wants to talk about the other performances that he's had, or in fact, he did miss one in his most recent game, I know, but he's had a few games that he's had 100% Marnie Libbok, and just adds such an attacking flair to the Springboks that, I'll be honest, at times helped them throughout their Rugby World Cup. I feel like he was an absolutely crucial player throughout some of those important fixtures. So, yeah, I don't see them ditching him anytime soon. I think they'll stick with him, and it would be too early to take him out because he's still got a lot left in the tank to be able to give. I wonder what Eddie Jones is doing at this moment, and I see from him again. Says Morne Lagrange. Well, I know a lot of Australians aren't happy to see that he has got himself another coaching gig this soon, but yeah, it will be interesting to see where he ends up going. I've talked about it. I think that Japan, they'll look at what he did to the Wallabies and go, do we really want him as coach if he's just going to ditch us if we end up losing a few games? And what does the score? Says LJ the man. The match has not started yet, so still another, I believe, 3 minutes before kickoff, and then we are straight into the match. And also, Libbok is great. He'll be there, says Ian Foster. Yeah, I feel like he's got a lot left in him overall, Marnie Libbok. So, yeah, I don't see them getting rid of him as of yet. Still a lot left for Marnie Libbok. Currently, we have got the moment's silence. I see Joe Moody there. Of course, a player who did play throughout the Bunnings EBC. Didn't get the chance for the All Blacks, though, at loose head prop. It's a hard game to predict who is going to get the first try, because the Barbarians, of course, like we mentioned, they will play an aggressive game of rugby here and try and throw absolutely everything they can at Wales early. I assume this Barbar was lined up for Eddie Jones a long time ago. Says Yvonne. You'd assume so, but then I think selection-wise, like the fact that Michael Hooper's in there makes me think maybe there was something else. Maybe it was a late injection, mainly because, I've said mainly a lot, but Scott Robinson, he would reach out to Tom Hooper was actually supposed to be playing, I thought, but he's number 20. Michael Hooper, he would have been like, yeah, okay, and then he probably found out Eddie Jones was one of the coaches and was like, maybe not, but I'll still do it because the Barbarians, it's a great opportunity for these guys to play. Rero Dyer will score a hat-trick, says LJ the man. In that interview he did with that random British guy, Eddie was saying he wants to coach an underdog side like Portugal, says Ian Foster. I don't think Portugal will have him, to be honest. Like, that's the thing. It's a tricky gig for Eddie Jones because, don't get me wrong, when he gets it right, he's a great coach. But you've got to add that team mentality, that kind of team environment alongside it. We've seen some of the best sides around the world, Springboks included. When you see them off the field, they're always smiling. They're always looking like they're having a great time. And it's replicated when they make their way out onto the field. They all seem like they're a part of some sort of brotherhood, that they all want to go out there, play for the team, play for the jersey, and play for the country. And yeah, for Australia in that last World Cup, they just didn't have that mentality because they knew that their coach was going to ditch them if it went wrong, and unfortunately it did. Eddie Jones could help France win a World Cup, says Chronic, and also maybe the Fijians will consider Eddie Jones as the Fijian coach. I don't know. I feel like at the moment, Fijian coach, he's done pretty good over the last 12 months. You got to look at what he's been able to do. He's been able to beat Australia for the first time in 69 years, get the first ever win over England for the Fijians, make it out of the group stages in a pool that a lot of people didn't back them to be able to do so. So yeah, I don't think Fiji need a new coach just yet. I feel like they've got something good going at the moment and they should stick with it. Of course, it all depends on whether or not the coaches are leaving, though. That is the big thing. At the moment, World Rugby, we've got quite a few changes in terms of players that are going overseas, and the coaches are a little bit the same. How the Rugby Championship schedule next year will be, I wonder how it will be, says LJ. I believe it is in late August that we see that first Bledisloe Cup test, if I'm correct there. And then alongside that, I'm not too sure who plays who. I know that if New Zealand are playing Australia first, then we will see Argentina play South Africa first, but then I'm not sure about that next round. Although normally it is the case if they either start with New Zealand versus South Africa or they end the Rugby Championship with New Zealand South Africa. So maybe that first changeover will involve Argentina and the All Blacks. So they are just showing that backline once more. Simeone Kuravuli alongside Nicolas Sanchez. That is a 19 combo that a lot of people probably haven't ever envisioned. And now they get to see it for perhaps 80 minutes throughout this contest. Some good players off the bench as well for both of these sides, whether that is going to be Ape Ratanoia-Rawa, Penny Ravai, a lot of Fijian flair there, Asafo Amoa, a big player, will be coming off the bench. We're speaking of big players, Dewey Lake, he is in the starting lineup. Jack Morgan, chance for him to be able to once again show what he can do. He's a workhorse out there on the field. Santa Vera Ichnaveri, having a bit of a stretch there, trying to make sure he's nice and limber. The last thing you want in this game is an injury, I will say that. And with how fast-paced, free-flowing it can be, the chance of injury actually increases a little bit. I'm looking at someone like a Joe Moody here and watching with a little bit of concern. I wouldn't want to see him end up with some sort of injury before Super Rugby gets back underway, but it is going to be the Barbarians kicking off this one from a right to left for this Barbarians versus Wales match at the Principality Stadium. In fact, they're left to right for the kickoff, but Sanchez gets us underway for what is the last game of international rugby, and already the kickoff is retained by Sean Stevenson. Look for the pass on the outside, but it is put down by Isaiah Parisi. A great start to the match for the Barbarians up until that knock-on. Now Wales have got themselves positioned just outside of their 22, and Thomas Williams will roll the ball back. It's kicked high. Sean Stevenson, safe under the high ball. I should mention the commentary is in Welsh, so I have no idea what they're saying. Hopefully the TMO, though, if there is a TMO, will be in English, so I know exactly what is happening. That is going to be the penalty to Wales, though, not releasing. That was Jack Morgan, the captain, who was able to win the penalty. Gets one against Michael Hooper there. This game's certainly not going to be played at a slow tempo. Wales might look to try and play structure over unpredictability of the Barbars, but this game's all about trying to score as many tries as you physically can. And I don't think there'll be many three-pointers taken, because at the end of the day, that just won't quite be enough to be able to win this contest with the attack and prowess of the Barbars. First line out throw this time for Dewey Lake. 22 metres out from their own line here. The Barbarians having to defend for the first time in this contest. The rolling maul looks set, but they decide instead to shift it off to the right-hand side with Morgan. Looping around was Rio Dyer. Finds the offload to Dewey Lake. Tackled low by Celestino Ravatamanda. The flying Fijian will be excited for the Super Rugby Pacific season to start back up. Taveta Ikanaveri, his teammate, having to try and make the tackle there. Domachowski, just showing, of course, there's a few of the international Welsh players on this Barbars side, Tuparik included alongside Alan Wynne-Jones. Jack Morgan is bloody impressive for a young fella, massive future for him, possibly better than Alan Wynne-Jones, says Ian Foster. I mean, he's certainly got that bright future like you mentioned, and the fact that he's the captain so young, like we talk about it quite a bit, how if you didn't know who Jack Morgan was, and you were given a picture of the Welsh lineup in terms of all the players, you probably wouldn't pick him as the captain. But, he's underrated. I tell you what, great run from George North. Thomas Williams, 5 metres out from the line. Brilliant last-ditch tackle, though, made by Alan Wynne-Jones. Len Akatel tackling Dewey Lake, but he hasn't stopped him. It should be the try, I believe. Yes, it is. And Wales score the first one in the first 3 minutes of this contest. And mate, do you think the kicking is getting out of hand? So much kicking happened in the Rugby World Cup, says Chronic. I mean, we saw quite a bit of kicking, of course, in some of those later games of the competition. Like, I believe the most kicks that we saw in any game was South Africa-England, wasn't it? With about 70, 75, something like that. Might have even been more than that. But I guess it's one of those ones that tactically it just depends on what the side are trying to do. I honestly feel like the kicking for me wasn't too much of a concern throughout this Rugby World Cup. It was more actually like, now, as soon as I say this, do not go, oh, you're a Kiwi. Of course you're going to say that. But I'm not referring to the final in this regard. But I feel like the TMO and refereeing in the whole Rugby World Cup, we didn't get enough consistency, which was what everyone was hoping for before the competition. And I don't know whether or not there was so much the referees who were put in charge's fault, or whether it's just the way that the law book currently is, that there's so much variation and so much interpretation that goes into it. Lee Halfpenny lines up the kick there for Wales, gets it over, and now makes the score 7-0 in favour of the home side. How long do these games go for? They are still 80 minutes. So same as the international rugby matches, 40-minute halves. And already in the first 4 minutes, we see a 7-0 lead for the Welsh. And I wonder what the reception is going to be when the All Blacks face Springboks next year in New Zealand. Or in New Zealand, they're probably going to boo the Springboks, says Molly Grange. I don't think they will, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of New Zealand supporters, yes, there's going to be some bad bunches in any fan base. I think we've found that for every team throughout this Rugby World Cup. I've been hurled a lot of abuse at me throughout the competition, no matter who's playing, so I'm used to it. But I think that there's still that mutual respect between the All Blacks and the Springboks, so I don't think it will be as bad as people are trying to make it out to be. We have got their kicking as the way to win. If you look at the stats, almost, if not every team who won by not having the ball in hand, says Ian Foster. And yeah, fun fact, early on in the competition, it was actually the opposite, wasn't it? Because it was whoever had more possession won the game. The first game that a side won with less possession was actually Ireland versus South Africa. And then from there, it became a lot more underdogs in terms of that possession stat were actually winning the contest. So it's as if the first few rounds, sides were just playing their natural games. And then as we went on in the competition, people started going, right, well, with these terrible conditions, because there was a lot of rain around through those later contests, the less you have the ball, the better, which, I mean, yes, it can be considered negative, but if it works, that's the I guess, the intrigue of it. The fact that if you do it and you do it well, you're probably going to end up winning. I think I'm a bit the same on Rugby 22, to be honest. I dusted off that game a few days ago, and I just kicked the ball into the 22, just force the opposition back. It's actually kind of addictive when you start forcing the opposition further and further towards their in-goal area, and then getting that 50-22 is quite satisfying. I can understand why the players let out a bit of a cheer when they get it right. But now scrum feed here on the halfway line for Wales. Passed out wide, Thomas Williams going out to the youngster Grady. In fact, there's going to be Tom Rogers instead. Mason Grady actually coming off the bench in this matchup. Counter ruck there from the Barbars, and they will not quite get that ball. That looked like he was lifted above the horizontal, though, for Celestino Ravatamanda, and the penalty is won by the Barbarians. It's taken too long to get that ball out, Wales have given away the penalty. Okay. She's saying something on the commentary. I still do not speak Welsh. In fact, I don't even know if I could say any Welsh words. It was a good run initially. Tipuric off his feet, maybe, in that breakdown. Probably got a little bit lucky not to give away that penalty, and then I think it became a hanging on penalty for the Barbarians. What's going to happen here for the Barbars? Do they kick it for touch, or do they go for some sort of set piece here? The moment we are seeing the Welsh player, yep, they will kick for touch. Good morning, Hamish. We have good day, evening, Northern Hemisphere watchers, says Peter Wild. And as well, and yeah, it is greatly appreciated you guys all being here. At the end of the day, it is almost the end of the day. It is 3:40 a.m. New Zealand time, but I did not want to miss this game. Knew it was going to be an entertaining fixture. Already having the one try in the first 7 minutes, of course, has started with a hiss and a roar, but that is going to be a stolen line out there for the Welsh, managing to get up and steal it from Tavera Ikanaveri's throw. Big tackle made now on the Welsh by Michael Hooper. When you consider that the two men who made that tackle were Michael Hooper and Alan Wynne-Jones, that is a lot of talent from two players, two great captains for their sides as well. Beautifully taken in the air by, it was none other than Celestino Ravatamanda. Knock on there. Who was that? Was that Alan Wynne-Jones? No, it was Joe Moody, in fact, who made the mistake, and now Wales will cut them wide open. Rio Dyer inside of the 22, tackled low by Nicholas Sanchez. Of course, Wales going head-to-head with Argentina in the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals, but Argentina were able to have the last laugh in that contest. Maybe a bit of redemption on the cards here for the Welsh as well. I agree, Barbars game's always good, especially with the team sheet like this one. Says Ian Foster, bit of a mistake there. Lee Harpenny has to clean that ball up, driven backwards by Isaiah Perezi, whose hands are down. So it would end up being a penalty if the Barbars decide to commit. Another big run here from Wales. I thought they were going drop kick, but they have gone with the up and under across the field. Nicely taken by the youngster Tom Rogers. We have got there what channels, says Zadian. So the way that I'm watching is on BBC iPlayer, which is an option. Why isn't this game on terrestrial TV here in England? I can't even see it on the BBC iPlayer, says Bobster. It should be there. It is on BBC iPlayer, I believe, on SC4. So what I had to do on the TV guide was scroll right across to the right-hand side, and then that is how I've managed to find it. I'm actually currently in England, according to my iPad, even though I'm in New Zealand, because I had to use a VPN to be able to set myself to the right location. Wales have started this match well. You can certainly tell that they have just completed a World Cup campaign together. There's a lot more chemistry in the way that they are playing. One of the exciting factors in the Barbarians is the fact that it is a whole heap of players from different nations thrown together last minute to have about, I think they say, 2 days of training, and then you're straight into the contest to see how you go. Okay, there's going to be a reset at line-out time. That is something you don't see too often. And also, this is really not a good start for Eddie Jones. It's already in a bad mood with his early try. He's probably fuming at the moment, says Monet Lagrange. Yeah, although that man, I feel like with Scott Robinson also in the coaching box, he'll probably have a little bit less of a temper to him. That could have been a penalty to the Barbars. In fact, they have got the penalty advantage now. May just be the knock-on. No, in fact, yep, double blow of the whistle. This is a yellow card for Wales. It did look relatively cynical, but I wasn't sure if where it was on the field was going to be bad enough to give him that card. See you later, says Ian Foster. So I guess we will see oof, Adam Beard is who you were talking to. But yeah, cynical foul from Adam Beard there at line-out time, trying to slap that ball out of there. Yeah, he's just gone through and just ripped it away, pretty much playing the ball on the ground as well. Didn't look too good. We need a North Barbarians versus South Barbarians game, says Chronic. I know that's something that was quite a big success for us here in New Zealand anyway, was the North versus South match that took place. I think that was... When was that took place? I think it was 2021 or 2020. Maybe I'm watching via Stan Sport, says Ian Foster. I didn't actually realise it was on Stan Sport. That is actually very awesome though, because there were very limited options of being able to watch this game. So the fact that now we know it's on Stan Sport, that will be very helpful for anyone who is asking. And then 2020, was it that long ago? And also we have got the evening. Oh, actually, no, it would have been, because at that stage we weren't actually covering rugby matches on the channel, I don't believe. I think we did a video on Rugby Challenge 4 of the game. And Michael Hooper, 3 metres out from the line here for the Barbarians. Kuravuli sells the dummy. Goes straight through. Wales are complaining about something, but that gap was absolutely huge for Kuravuli. And he scores the first try of the match for the Barbarians. Oh, you've got there, evening, Hamish. One more on the go. And also lost audio, Hamish, says Ian Foster. Well, hopefully that's not going to stick around for too long. Never mind. Okay. You got me concerned. And amazing idea, North versus South Barbars, says Yvonne. I think the hardest part for them, of course, is trying to find when players can actually take part. Because I know that people get really annoyed looking at this Barbarian side. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, there's no South Africans in it, so they aren't going to watch the game and everything along those lines. But the reason there aren't any South African players in it is because, for one, the URC has started, so most of the South African players are occupied with their respective clubs. We've got to remember all these guys playing in this game pretty much free agents at this point, with no commitments to clubs up until around February. And then alongside that, South Africa, they deserve a break. They just want a World Cup. They need a little bit of time off, be able to enjoy it. And what's the chair situation? says Yvonne. So I still need to put together... Oh, Nicholas Sanchez misses the kick, keeping the score 7-5. Yeah, I still got to put together the cheer that I did get. I'm still on this one for now, but now that the World Cup is over, it's been a pretty busy week, but yeah, it should be good. And hopefully I'll be able to get it set up. The next big thing that I'm looking at is going to be probably the desk. I'm going to look for an upgrade there, seeing as this one, it's slightly falling apart. Hopefully it doesn't completely collapse, as it has got my monitors on it. I've got there, wish my son had a mute button, says Peter Wild. He talk a bit, does he? I feel like my dad probably thinks the same about me when I start talking at like 5 a.m. for these live streams. But Kuravuli from inside of his 22 gets a good amount of distance on that one, but just stays in the field of play. Lee Halfpenny goes across now to Sam Costello. Looking for the kick deep. Eliza Drua-Sisi is back there and covering. Now gets a pass away to Nicholas Sanchez for the kick in behind. Sets up those straight into the hands of Tom Rogers, who is flying up the middle. Who's the number 3 from Wales? The man is aggressive in the ruck. Says Ian, so that is Lloyd Fairbrother. So he is on debut, and yeah, I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for a player like him to get his name out there, because not too many people probably know him that well. But if he plays well, perhaps he has got a spot in the Welsh international team in the near future. There's actually a second player making debut off the bench in same position, tight head prop. I think it's Harry O'Connor, if I'm correct. Now Thomas Williams goes off to the left. Oh, there's an injury here. It might actually be that man that we were just mentioning, Fairbrother. So hopefully he is all right if that is the case. Little pop pass up to Aaron Wainwright. Yeah, this doesn't look good on the far side. In fact, it's Corey Domachowski, the other prop, who has stayed down. And I wonder what New Zealand's first 3 test matches for next year under Scott Robinson. I believe they will all be a part of the... Oh no, they'll have July International. So I know that England are playing the All Blacks. They're also going to be playing the Springboks in Australia. So England have actually stacked their calendar, which is pretty awesome to see. Barbars are usually recently retired players, says Yvonne. Yeah, normally few recently retired sneak in there. And also, depending on the time of the year, will depend on what competitions you see players from. Like, we've got mainly Super Rugby-based players in this lineup. But that is because Super Rugby, of course, does not start up until February. If we were having the Barbars games near the end of... Well, I think they had some mid-year Barbarians games last time, so that is when we saw the Northern Hemisphere more French Barbarian side take to the field, because they were the team that weren't really playing. We have good there is that first up next year, says Ian Foster, I think. Oh, no, that might be November, actually. Now that I think about it. Yeah, no, sorry, that's my apologies. It's early November that they are going to be playing. So, yeah, probably going to be either the Rugby Championship or some other games taking place. Just popping in to let you know Pakistan won, says Gareth. Did they? Fair play. At the end of the day, New Zealand, I think they got themselves 400 or something like that. So the fact that they weren't able to win that game from there, oh, the DLS, the good old rain, eh? I mean, it's probably quite brutal, to be honest. Like, the DLS I've always been confused with, but at the end of the day, like, they couldn't do much more, New Zealand, I don't think, in terms of the amount of runs that they scored. I don't think Pakistan will make the semis, says Chronic Underachiever. Now, 15 minutes in, looks like Corey Domachowski will be continuing this match for that little bit longer. Commentators are going ham on the pronunciations at the moment. I have no idea what they're saying. Every once in a while, they'll say the last name of a player, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's who they're talking about. But other than that, no idea. It's a tough one, 400 and lose to rain, says Gareth. Yeah, and the fact that you don't really expect much rain for this Cricket World Cup as well, it's as if it's just a little bit of a sign in it for New Zealand. But hopefully they still make it into the top 4. It would be a shame if that was the difference between them making it and missing out, but that is cricket at the end of the day. We got rained off today, sadly. We were down there, we played 12 overs that we batted for, and then it was the end of the game. George came down to watch, so that was quite fun. But yeah, we had lightning, we had thunder, hail, so she wasn't the best day for cricket. So instead we went to KFC. We have got that big Barbarian Scrum, Says Ian Foster, but now moving off to the left-hand side here. Big run again from Dewey Lake. Currently sitting 22 metres out from the line. Attack and run from Johnny Williams. Turn on England versus Tonga. Free phases the Tongan 13 fully leaned on the guy's neck with his elbow. Threw a dig into the stomach and then a shoulder to the head. Crazy stuff. Says Joseph, yeah, there's quite a rivalry that has started up between those two sides. And I think that's just probably Tonga's frustration of going down 2-0 in this series. Like, they're a great side and they would have loved to be able to get at least one win in those first two games. Tell you what, the game of rugby league I wasn't anticipating to be as one-sided was New Zealand versus Australia. In the Pacific Championship final, New Zealand won 30-0. In a game that, when the two sides played 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago, New Zealand lost by about 12 points. Wonder who's Australia's next coach going to be. Says Monty Lagrange. And also, rain everywhere in the world is crazy. Flood shortening Q3 at the F1. Says Peter Wild. Yeah, it's always hard to predict the weather, of course. But yeah, it's predicted to be pretty wet over the next little while. I think Checker should go back, to be honest. Says Ian Foster. Our big scrum again. Barbars hanging on to this one at the back inside of their 22. Simeone Kuravuli pierces off to the short side. Finds Sean Stevenson. That is actually a combination that could work pretty well for a Super Rugby team if they ever considered it. Although, of course, both men at their respective clubs, Fiji and Droy, have got Kuravuli and they will not be letting him go with the amount of skill that man possesses throughout a game of rugby. Short ball to Taveta Ikanaveri, his teammate, lost his footing, found the offload to Rob Bellatini, looking for the pass over the top, gets it to Kuravuli, and now 30 metres from the line, still available. Sanchez going left-hand side, kicked him on from Leonard Cattell. It's cleaned up and big shot on Sam Costello by Taniela Tupou. And Jamie Joseph, what's he up to now? Says Gareth there. Nice step from Rio Dyer. Now Jack Morgan charging forward. It's a fast-paced game. Oh, I think we just heard neck roll there against the Welsh player. Liza Drua-Sisi takes the quick tap. That is cynical. Yeah, no, now they decide they want to go back. So the referee allowed him to go. Then the Welsh player was 2 metres in front of him, made the tackle, and then from there the referee says, actually, no, I'd like to take that back. Interesting. But Jamie Joseph, where is he off to now? He had his recent coaching gig. I don't know whether he's already got something else locked in or whether he's extended his contract. I think some of the coaches actually move around more than the players at the moment, which makes it very tricky to track them. Oh, there's Ian Foster, but now it will be the lineup for the Barbarians. This is when the entertaining rugby comes out because they could throw absolutely any set play into this contest, and good combination between the Fijian boys and Joe Moody. So here's Ian Foster there. The Fijian draw. It's great to see how many players are getting the chance. And I have to mention once more, you've heard me say it all throughout the year, but the improvement that we've seen from the Fijians is absolutely massive throughout the last couple of years since they joined Super Rugby. Like the fact that we see Taveta Ikanaveri, Kuravuli, Drua-Sisi, Celestino Ravatamanda all given the opportunity and all will do very well alongside Pini Ravai as well as Apio Ratunai Arawa, who are more of the overseas Fijian internationals. Around the side, Michael Hooper. Now only 3 metres out from the line here for the Barbarians. Kuravuli going back across. Drua-Sisi is waiting for the inside ball from Ravatamanda. Receives it, but it knocked out of his hands, and now it will be a scrum 5 metres from the line. Let me go check. And Jamie Joseph is back at the Highlanders, isn't he? Says Ian Foster. Do you suggest Ian Foster as the next Australian coach? I mean, he's looking for a job, but I don't think that, Ian Foster, he loves the All Blacks, and that's what all the players have talked about so much, so I don't see him being able to show the same passion as he did for the All Blacks as he would for someone like the Wallabies. And, I mean, the perfect example of that is Eddie Jones. The fact that everyone was like, oh, he's going to go back and help Australia, but instead he pretty much ruined them. He would have been good for Australia. Says Gareth there. Head of rugby at the Highlanders now. And hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Good work, Hamish. Says Mikhail in there as well. And Foster already said no to the Wallabies. It's a good move, really, isn't it? Because he already gets enough stick as it is. Like he said, like throughout his time being an All Blacks coach, he's received so much abuse from people. Like he'd rather just not bother. I wish I could watch this match. Says Connor, depending on whereabouts you are, you may be able to. It is on BBC iPlayer as well as SC4. I believe that is actually the channel on BBC iPlayer for being able to watch. We have got the hi from football as well. Welcome in, mate. Only a little bit of strapping going on to... Whose knee is that? It might be Lee Halfpenny. We see Adam Baird about to make his way back out onto the field after a cynical infringement. It got him penalised earlier on in the contest. Halfpenny, is he going to continue? It looks like he is going to. Of course, this is going to be his last game in an international kit for Wales, so wants to make the most of it. Wouldn't want to go off this early. 5 metres from their own line here, Wales, though. They have got themselves a scrum. Hasn't quite been a Barbarians normal, I guess, free-flowing game. We've had quite a few set pieces along the way, whether that is the scrum or the line-out, but anytime the Barbars get on an attack, and the same can be said about Wales, there is that flair that is on offer, you boys. Look after Lee, he's coming to New Zealand soon, and we want him in good nick, says Ian Foster. Yeah, although he might get roughed up a little bit in Super Rugby. There's some tough boys around in this comp. Now, that's going to be the free kick. A little bit of early pushing. I believe we're going to have just a straight scrum reset here for Wales. In fact, they might actually just consider kicking this one downfield. They were only 5 metres out from the try line. We have got there, Hamish, would you consider moving to Colorado, USA on a 5-year broadcasting contract? It would involve travelling with a team, says Peter Wiles. I mean, it would certainly be an experience, wouldn't it? Is that like an actual offer, Peter, or is that just a question, like a theoretical one? It'd be different, that's for sure. USA quite far away from New Zealand. You guys have good food, though, by the looks of it. Is Andy Farrell still Ireland's head coach? I believe he is sticking around, Andy Farrell, at this point. They'd be silly not to extend his contract after managed to get himself the Coach of the Year gig. Now 20 minutes in. Thomas Williams now rolling this one back. And also a bit of both. I'm negotiating a franchise, says Peter Wild. That sounds very official, doesn't it? Negotiating a franchise. So this might sound like a silly question, but what does that mean per se? Like a new franchise or like an existing one that you're trying to be a part of type thing? Looks like there's going to be another penalty to Wales here due to the infringement. And be back out on the field. We'll email you, says Peter Wild. Sounds good. I am curious. Colorado. Now, I've got to work out where that is in the USA. I remember on a map. Do I? Where at Colorado? Is it up? No. It's near the top, I think. Maybe. Near the top, slightly to the right. Maybe. I'd have to learn where it was beforehand, of course, just because or else I'd get lost. Now rolling more chance here for Wales. Thomas Williams goes across to Rio Dyer. Thank you, Hamish. Now's found the game stream, says Bobster. So yeah, hopefully you are able to enjoy it. That's a nice bit of work there from Wales to give the ball. It's near the top to the right. It's incredible, says the May 5. Is it close? Colorado is baked. It's okay, so it's bottom in the middle then. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at a USA map, aren't I? USA map. Where are we sitting? Here are the states. Yeah, that's not quite where I thought it was. It's very square. And go on the boys, and Colorado is basically above Texas, says Peter there. And KFC is here in the USA, says, right, you guys have like Popeyes and also, what's the other one that's like fancy? Well, not fancy, but just nice. That's a good kick in behind from Simeone Kuravoli. Keeping the pressure on at the moment. Only 22 metres out from his own line. Sam Costello has to clear it up center of the Mountain West, north of New Mexico and south of Wyoming, says Igor. Now, nice offload coming here for Aaron Wainwright. Tackled low by Isaiah Parisi, I should say. They got Eliza and Isaiah in the Barbarians team. Bit of fun there. Now it's kicked in behind from Sam Costello. Get some good distance on it, but cleaned up at the back by Celestino Ravatamanda. Now Eliza Druasisi looking to charge back at the line, beautifully dodging. And just to get through quite a few tackle attempts here. And I've heard the island going to South Africa for 3 test matches next year. Says morning. That'd be pretty awesome. Excellent skiing opportunity near Denver. Aspen, Colorado, mid-USA. Says Franz Smith. Chick-fil-A, that is the other one that's pretty good by the sounds of it. It's a big kick into touch. Beautifully done by Wales. I've only been skiing once in my life. And I got put off it, not so much for what I was doing, but pretty much our class went for school. And I was on the beginner slope and I was pretty content with where I was. I didn't want to take the risk of going up to the medium because that thing looked like it went about that angle. And then when I was on the beginner slope, one of our classmates forgot how to stop on the medium slope, which is all well and good as you're on a mountain, but there was a shed almost like, I don't know if she got concussed. She didn't sound flash though. Like I was on the beginner slope and she got sledded past and they were like, "You okay back there?" And she went, and I was like, "No, I think I'll be a beginner for a while. I don't mind being here." You know, just on the nice one that went about this angle. At least if you fell, you didn't fall into the side of infrastructure. Alan Wynne-Jones with the offload there for the Barbarians. Big sell of the dummy from Sean Stevenson. Now Nicholas Sanchez gets it off. Big run from Isaiah Parisi. Finds his flick pass back to Kuravuli, but he has also dropped that ball. Good game so far, says Richard. And also we have got the credit where it's due. You as Epic covering World Cup Rugby in 2023. Says Taffy, thank you very much, mate. We covered 48 from 48 games. That was a weird feeling doing so many games in the middle of the night. Like we've done Super Rugby, we've commentated a majority of those games. We've done the whole of the Six Nations in the past, but a Rugby World Cup, it was the first one that we've covered, and it was pretty awesome being able to meet so many of you guys all throughout those live streams. And also we have got there, I hope you're well. Says 11J said, doing very well, mate. Hope you are also keeping well. And swimming at Mount Maunganui in the afternoon drive to Tongariro for a late afternoon ski. And also, do you think teams care if they lose to the Barbarians? I think deep down they still do. Like, at the end of the day, like, the Barbarians, they are a side that bring a lot of flair to the game. They bring a lot of excitement, but you still don't want to lose to a side like that because they've only been together for a couple of days training. And you've been together as an international team for a long time. So the likes of, like, I guess, up against the Gallagher Premiership sides, whatnot, when they were playing Bristol Bears, Northampton Saints, those type of games, I feel like, yes, it will still get to the teams, but the club level teams probably don't care as much as an international outfit. Now going back across to the short side, Rio Dyer kicks them on for Johnny Williams, who knocks the ball on. And they will have to go back for the scrum. How you managed to remember all the player names. Says Taffy, tell you what, there was a lot of reading that was involved. Like, even like throughout the Rugby World Cup, there was still a lot that we had to learn in terms of player names, but luckily we were able to work them out not too badly. And there weren't too many times that I was sitting there going, what's that guy's name? It's like I kind of luckily had most of them up the sleeve. I might see South Africa versus New Zealand, old school tours return, hopefully. Says 11J said, I think teams really want to whip the Barbars, says Peter Wild. Yeah, it's all about being able to say, oh, these guys tried to play their fancy rugby and we beat them, which is normally, you know, it's a decent flex, I guess you could say. And Wales definitely trying to target Stevenson's defence. And also, I think everyone likes a win. And a Kiwi would love Colorado. Much less rain, no big water all around. Lots of good mountains, unfortunately, full of whacked out Yanks, says Igor. Sounds like it's going to be full of a rugby team soon, though. Could be all right. What's the temperature like in Colorado? Out of curiosity, because you say not much rain. But I know that like New Mexico's dry. Texas is pretty dry. Is Colorado quite dry too, or is it a little bit more, or probably a little bit less deserty? And bragging rights in it, says Daffy. Exactly right. Be able to say that you've beaten the Barbars. You look at the world-class players in this Barbarians team. For Wales to be able to say that they've beaten Alun Jones in a game of rugby would be pretty massive for them. Currently 12 minutes remaining in this first half. I've only seen 2 tries. That is probably relatively low for a Barbarians game. Normally we would see quite a bit more. Daniela Tupou having some big, deep breaths. I don't think we've seen that man have a run as of yet. Snow? Like all the time. Or like only some of the time. Or most of the time, maybe. How does it go from desert down below it to then all of a sudden it's snowing? I guess it's altitude. Oh, is it altitude? I feel like we need a whole live stream if Hamish needs to learn the USA. I can name most states' flags, if that's something to go off. A high elevation, a lot of snow. Says the May 5 in Colorado's combination of high elevation, mid-latitude, and continental interior geography results in cool, dry, and invigorating climate, says Franz Smith. That sounds like something straight out of like a tourist brochure, doesn't it? And the Bulls have beaten Zebre at 54 points to 29, so a good win for South African side. The first South African team actually of the weekend to get themselves the victory. Of course, the Sharks and the Stormers both being defeated. And Wales, well done in the World Cup. Now, nice run through. Speaking of Wales, here comes Rio Dyer. He's had a pretty solid game so far throughout the first 30 minutes. Now going off to the right-hand side. Only a couple metres out from the try line now for Wales. Williams through the legs. Little bit of Barbarians flair from Wales. And it's the try for Tom Rogers. Was that Lee Halfpenny who just went with that pass through his legs? Because if it was, he's decided he's going to show what he can do maybe for the Barbars in the future. And that was delightful. Says Ian Foster, and don't stress, Igor. I'm importing several Kiwis and a couple of Aussies to even the score for my business. But if I get my hands of franchise, then hopefully increase the average IQ as well. Says Better Wild. I was like, come on. Says Daffy. Our Wales done well World Cup. But it was disappointing to go out to Argentina. Oh, it was actually George North with the through the legs pass. Apparently Damien Valimza hasn't taken his rugby kit off since last Saturday. He's on a week-long bender. Says Darren Rogers for a hat-trick. Says Better Wild. And there as well. But yeah, we'll give them a little bit of an extra boost. Definitely if this kick goes over, which he did make the kick a little bit easier for Lee Halfpenny. Hasn't quite been the start to the match the Barbarians would have been after, though. They have just scored the one try of Simeone Kuravuli. Other than that, though, like they're struggling. And hey, Irish brother, Sean Stevenson playing A. He says, he certainly is out on the right wing for this game. He had a decent run earlier on, linking up with Simeone Kuravuli, but we probably haven't seen a huge amount of his attack yet throughout this game. And wetter than New Mexico or Texas, but not too much. It's snowy winter mountains, some snow on the plains. Colorado Springs high today is 63 Fahrenheit. Low today is 34. Okay, 63. What's that? We'll go Fahrenheit. I'd have to learn how to spell that word for one. Fahrenheit's a hard one, isn't it? Fahrenheit. It's got an H in the middle. Celsius, so we'll go, it is 63. That's actually warmer than it is here. And their low is 34. That's pretty much what you get here anyway, to be honest, in terms of the warmth. George, awesome player, but does like to get knocked out all the time, says Taffy. Which is not a good skill to have in a game of rugby, I do have to say. Be kicked off long by the Barbars. Back inside of the 22. Thomas Williams put in the charge or getting the big kick downfield. Eliza Drua-Sisi fires it back across. Here comes Nicholas Sanchez. Oh, that's high. Unfortunately, had him right on the jaw. He's going to hold his face. They may go back to check this one after, but first of all, Wales have got another chance to be able to attack. George North goes off now. The captain, Jack Morgan, they are 10 metres from the try line, and the penalty is won by the Barbarians. And Dan just woke up 4 a.m. here in the Kiwi land, says I. And also we look at there, Durango. Colorado would be home, says Peter Wild. And Hamish, it might be the tough year you're having. New Zealand lost the Rugby World Cup. They almost are going to choke at the cricket. They lost to Pakistan, but still they scored 401 for 6 runs, says DC. Yeah, although we've seen that it was rain affected, and like at the end of the day, like New Zealand probably couldn't have done much more in that game. Like who knows how it would have gone by the end of the match. Normally, like Pakistan were on par with what they needed to get though, so I feel like it would have been a high scoring one. It's just a shame that it ended early due to the rain that was around. Imagine if Jameson played or Ferguson instead of Ish Sodhi, says DC. And also we look at their Tipperik, you good thing, and still recovering from the AB's loss in our final, says I. I think it will sting quite a few Kiwis for a while, but yeah. Oh, Penny Ravai now making his way onto the field. I assume that is going to be for Joe Moody, who is getting taken off. No. Penny Ravai actually on for Taniela Tupou. Please tell me Tupou's not injured again. That man breaks more things in his body than anyone else at the moment in World Rugby, I have to say. He's become the new Manu Tuolangi. Except Manu Tuolangi has now become a better improved Manu Tuolangi because he doesn't get injured every 5 minutes, which is good. That's going to be the penalty there to the Barbarians. They won't let them get the ball. Wales lying all over it, still lying on it. He's not moving. Yeah, Taniela Tupou looks like he's done something to himself. Injured once more. Look at their World Cup final, was very close to amazing teams. Says Daffy, and also Big Penny Rawai, kia ora, mate. A bit late coming off the hill. Says Ta. Oh, the kick does not find touch though. Now Wales with the ball once more. Mark my words, Hamish. Y'all will beat Pakistan at the T20 World Cup 2024. It'll be a revenge test. DC will win. Big run from Rio Dyer. Fantastic winger. Pass on the inside to Thomas Williams. Looking to link up with Dyer, and he just gives him no space to work. Gets driven into touch by Sean Stevenson. But boy, Dyer's looked dangerous. Should mention there is a big game in the Cricket World Cup tomorrow. India versus South Africa. That is going to be absolutely huge when those two sides go head-to-head. Southern Hemisphere won 9 out of 10 World Cups. Your Northern Hemisphere teams have the best players. Says Ray Rourke. Yeah, at the moment, South Africa, it's going to be a long time till anyone breaks that record of the 4 World Cups. Of course, New Zealand, theoretically, in 2027 could draw that record, but yeah, the earliest that we could see a side get more World Cups than the Springboks is actually 2031. And that is if New Zealand went back-to-back. But South Africa, they've got the potential of winning 3 World Cups in a row in 2027. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see what happens for that Australian World Cup. And by then, World Rugby could look completely different in terms of who the players are that are selected, what the laws are in the games. Yeah, for sure, Taffy. I could have gone either way. I say this as a massive All Blacks fan. I'd rather lose to the South Africans than any other team. Their country needed it right now, especially with all the mayhem. Says Iron, also Springbok World Champions 5 times in 2027. Says Gary in New Zealand should have got the penalty in the last minute of the Rugby World Cup final. It was rigged, to be honest. Says DC will win. Yeah, it's one of those games, though, that it could have gone either way. Like, New Zealand missed their kicks in the important times. Like, Geordie Barrett missing that one that could have given them the lead. Richie Mo'unga missing that kick that could have given them the lead. So there were a lot of moments that New Zealand, if they had taken that chance, if they hadn't dropped a ball, then, you know, they could have got the win. And I think that's the beauty of when those two sides play, is how close it can be. I went to school with a Safo. I hope he gets plenty of game time. Says Ian Foster. Sean Stevenson passes now to Eliza Ruasisi. Ball on the outside to Lena Katau. Recently returning from injury. Did miss the Rugby World Cup competition. New Zealand missed that crucial kick. I should have made that kick. Says Daffy. And also, I hope Ben Stokes lets New Zealand qualify for the semis and beat Pakistan. It's his birth country. Says DC will win. It looks like it could almost be a turnover here for Wales. Yeah, the turnover is good from Dan Lydiot. Now, Wales back in possession. Thomas Williams goes off to the right-hand side to Adam Beard, the only player who has been penalised with a yellow card throughout this game. And Razor should hopefully kick some sense into our lads, says I. And All World Cup, who is making them kicks, says Taffy. Although Geordie Barrett, he hasn't really had too many kicking opportunities, of course. But Richie Mo'unga, he'll be disappointed that he didn't get that kick over from the sideline, even though a majority of kickers wouldn't have even gone close to getting that one. Now Barbarians still having to defend. Thomas Williams kicks in behind, chips up to Sam Costello. They just out-Barbarian the Barbarians with that little chip in behind. Wales now leading 19 points to 5 over the Barbars. I've got there Wales and Defo, and George North has been on fire tonight, says Ian Foster. That time Thomas Williams just saw the gap, saw the chance. Eliza Droa-Sisi was not back. It was just a little look, seeing that. Oh, hang on. I think that they might have wanted to check that to see if Corey Domachowski had some sort of penalty for obstruction. I don't think there will be, though. I think it's going to be continuing. We have got there New Zealand are going to face Greece in the football this month. They beat Greece 2-0. But the toughest team, France, beat them 1-0. It'll be a record for the All Whites, says DC. And my boys says definitely all the Barretts need to retire. Says Peter Wild. I don't know about that. I think like Geordie Barrett minus his missed kick. Like he was one of the main reasons New Zealand went as far as they did throughout the Rugby World Cup. Because if you look at the incohesion in their midfield combo before Barrett returned from his injury, and then afterwards, like it was a completely different All Black side when Barrett was back at 12. Now Bowden, I think he might have been better off coming off the bench perhaps at times throughout that Rugby World Cup and give D-Mac that chance. Geordie still has 8 to 10 years in him. Says Ian Foster, no way Peter Wild, the Barretts have plenty of time left. And also, who do you think will be new Australian coach? Someone who is willing to, like, that's the thing though, it won't matter for Australia unless they change things higher up their rugby system anyway. Like, they could pick any coach in the world and they still wouldn't be able to fix the problems that Australian rugby have. But until they acknowledge those problems, like, there's not going to be a real change for the Aussies. New Zealand lost the final because they missed their kicks. That's not much between the two. I'm a Bok fan and we deserve to be the champs. But I know that New Zealand could be potentially the champions in 2027. All Blacks will be bet. It's going to be knocked on there from the Barbarians once more. And okay, concede on Geordie, but the other two are past it, says Peter Wild. I remember the World Cup rugby final. My brother was crying all day. It's really hard to cheer him up, says DC will win. And also Wales destroyed Australia, probably our shining game in the Rugby World Cup, says Taffy. Yeah, that was a brilliant performance from the Welsh. And now when you look at the hand that Warren Gatland was dealt with this Welsh side, like, it's very impressive what they were able to do throughout this Rugby World Cup. The amount of stuff that was coming out just before the World Cup and over the last 12 months about the Welsh Rugby Union, everything along those lines, and the fact that they were still able to put in that performance in the World Cup. Yes, they'll be disappointed to get knocked out in the quarterfinals, but that's still further than they expected. Ian Foster banned Razor from the Rugby World Cup because Scott Robinson would be a distraction, says Blues Nate. And also over there, that was a great call too. And also Howdy Hamish, says Blues Nate. And there, our ball fed in. 25 seconds remaining in this first half. Currently 21 points to 5 in favour of the Welsh. And their backline once again rolling, although that was a little bit of a rough pass to Lee Halfpenny down in front. Wasn't able to regather. Now this will be the last play. And also Howdy Blues Nate, it's Tesla here, says I. It's his undercover account, Nate. They can't find him on that one. Only a couple seconds. It was just a bit too far in front of Lee Halfpenny. And also Hamish Cricket is the last hope for you and us because New Zealand is in that sport. Says DC will win. And also Ian Foster told you your canoe was sinking, my guy. And also, hi Blues, good to see you, says Mikhail. The Barbars have got a lot of ground to make up here. I'm just doing the maths in my head, like, they need to try now, of course, and then in that second half, they're going to have to go out absolutely firing to be able to get back into it. Now, Sean Stevenson goes across here. Nice backline movement. Nicolas Sanchez still got plenty of pace for a veteran player. Celestino Ravatamunda stays in the field of play. Droa-Sisi shut down by his officer number Lee Halfpenny, and the ball almost available. Yes, Wales get themselves the penalty there, sealing off against the Barbarians. And it's Lee Halfpenny, the man of the moment at the moment, and the man on a mission try and get Wales to win. Dang it, says Ian Foster. And also, have New Zealand done enough to qualify top 4 in the Cricket World Cup? I mean, they're close. At the moment, they are sitting 4th. But Pakistan, they closed that gap big time. Currently now, pretty much every game from now for New Zealand is a must-win. They've got Sri Lanka as one of their upcoming games, and I believe that would be their last game, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, they need to win against Sri Lanka. If they don't, they have a very high potential of missing out. I believe Pakistan and Afghanistan, they are the 2 other sides that still have a chance of overtaking New Zealand. In fact, if Afghanistan get themselves 2 wins, they are through. So Afghanistan, they play Australia on Tuesday, and then they have South Africa. So they got 2 pretty tough games. But Pakistan have got England, so it could come down to net run rate. New Zealand would have to beat Sri Lanka by a lot. Love the Barbars, says Gus, and the Barbars forwards looking too slow. And the breakdown, leaving their players isolated, and huge credits to Argentina in that rugby tournament. They were fire. Says DC, is it going from bad to worse for Eddie Jones? You must consider that bottle of whiskey, Eddie Jones. Says Morne Lagrange. And also, I'm still down from the final, guys. If only Richie and Geordie made those kicks. Says I. And also, we've got the Eddie Jones. He must be frustrated now. Is Lee Halfpenny playing 10? Yep. He is indeed. And he's been looking very good. That is the only thing costing them. Says Ian Foster. Yeah, their backlines looked all right. It's just the fact that the forwards haven't been supplying that support that they need. And Kane Williamson is Neymar, and Rachin Ravindra is Mbappe. Again, these 2 great forwards lead New Zealand to the World Cup trophy, says DC. But yeah, that game that they lost to Pakistan, it certainly hurt them in terms of those chances, because if they won that game, then they would be on 10 points and they'd be pretty secure at the moment. But they were on a pretty big winning streak, I think. In fact, no, sorry, New Zealand have been on a losing streak, haven't they? I think they've lost their last 4 games or something like that. Kiwi lads rocking it as always. Says Blues now. I should mention it is halftime, 21 points to 5, ladies and gents, in this contest. So second half just around the corner. But yeah, I did end up playing cricket today briefly. We only got to play 12 overs worth of cricket. Then it started thunder and lightning and hail and pretty much anything that you don't want for a game of cricket we got. But yeah, hopefully the weather's better today. Is this the full Welsh team that played in the World Cup, bro? Almost. There's a few players missing, mainly the ones who have retired from international. So whether that's Dan Bigger, anyone along those lines. But overall, still a pretty strong Welsh side and pretty similar to what we saw for their Rugby World Cup campaign, with a couple exceptions to new tight head props, Lloyd Fairbrother, as well as Harry O'Connor, too. And Kiwi's putting 30-0 on the Kangaroos. What going on, mate? I was very confused when I saw that score, because I thought that game should have been, well, not so much going the other way, but it should have been a lot closer than it was. But yeah, New Zealand just came out firing in that contest. So yeah, I mean, they'll take it. They'll take it any way they can get it. And also, we have got their DC will win. I think they made a lot of forced mistakes and untidy hand management. It wasn't what we expected from them. Still, we got the 4th is huge for us, says Mikhail. Yeah, as well. Yeah, I am curious to know how Tonga versus England is going in the Rugby League. So we're quickly going to do a quick Google, because that was the other game taking place. Also, I should mention the URC taking place at the moment. I believe Edinburgh versus Leinster is not too far around the corner from getting underway. So at the moment, England versus Tonga, I believe, is still sitting 0-0. I don't know how far into the game they are, though. We have got there, looking forward to the British and Irish Lions Tour 2025. I just hope Australia are competitive. I think that's the main thing that people are looking for. And it's halftime 14-0 for the English. And that game are totally opposite for us Kiwis. Low, but yeah, a solid win for New Zealand, says Blues Nate. And also, man, I was hoping that they could beat Pakistan, but Pakistan cheated again. Says DC will win, although I don't think you can consider the DLS as Pakistan cheating. Like, at the end of the day, like, they were on par with what they needed to get per over, with some brilliant batting from the top order, but yeah, it's just one of those ones, like New Zealand, they couldn't do too much in that game differently. Like scoring 400 runs and losing because of rain, like it hurts, of course, for the Kiwis, but they can't really look at it and go, oh, we should have scored 450 or we should have scored 500 because it's just, yeah, it would just be huge. They were able to. Should be enough. Sort the Australian team out. And also Kiwi's biggest win against Aussie and Aussie's biggest loss. So yeah, massive, massive win in the final as well. So the cup goes to New Zealand for the Pacific Championships. Of course, we should mention Oceania's Sevens actually going to be taking place next week. Is that something that you guys are keen on us covering on the channel? Because if you are, we will more than happily do it. I think we've actually got the plan of doing a majority of the games. I'm not sure whether it's only Saturday though. Hopefully it's not too much on Saturday as we have got cricket that we will be playing. Okay, Michael Hooper playing for the Barbars, right? He certainly is. We hardly saw him throughout that first half. A very lackluster, I guess, Michael Hooper performance. Hamish Ravinja wasn't out. It would have led New Zealand to 470. The highest ODI score in New Zealand would have won by 30 on the DLS runs. Yeah, but like 470, pretty much what you're saying there is New Zealand had to get the highest ever ODI score to be able to win against the rain. Like that's a massive ask, to say the least. 400, big score cricket at the moment. Says Taro Nice Hamish Oceania Sevens. And New Zealand probably didn't recover from the previous match against South Africa. They lost by 190 runs in their previous match. I'd disagree. Scoring 400 is a pretty good comeback from a big defeat. Like, if anything, like that was probably the best comeback that they could have asked for. But, yeah, it's just the rain. You can't really help it. Unfortunately, the weather's the weather. And it either helps you or it doesn't. Sevens is a big commitment. Those days can be 12 hours, says Gus. We've done a lot of sevens in the past, though. We've done every leg of the World Rugby Sevens for the past 3 years or so. Any cards yet, bro? Says, just the one that we saw for Adam Beard early on for his infringement in the breakdown. Other than that, no other cards have been awarded to either of these sides. Seen one try from the Barbarians. Simeone Kuravuli, December 7th, will be at the Ulster match, says Peter Wild. Who are they playing for that game? Peter, do let me know. Trying to think who they've got. I know that Munster are playing Glasgow on the 2nd of December because that's on my birthday. But I don't think we're going to be able to cover it because we are covering Rugby Sevens all throughout the night. I've said that. I've said it a couple times actually. That I'm delaying my birthday by a few weeks because or else then I just won't have time to celebrate it. So birthday delayed because there's sevens on. Birthday now is going to be about the 17th of December rather than the 2nd. Just so that it all keeps us busy during the festive season. Now just showing some of the offloads we've seen from the Barbars. Speaking of sevens, when is the sevens going to start? So it is the first weekend of December that it is starting up. So I believe it's on the 2nd and the 3rd that the Dubai Sevens is. And then after that we have got the Cape Town Sevens, I believe, the week after. And that is going to be taking place starting on the 9th, I believe it is. I think they've almost got the Sevens schedule on the website. I know that they were holding off for quite some time to let people know when the leagues were taking place. Here you go, Sagittarius. I'm 30th of November. Okay, so we're only like 3 days apart, somewhere around there, I believe. Okay, they still haven't actually got the new scheduled one for 2024 yet. But, yeah, it is taking place at some stage. And also, we've got the have you started earning from this channel? Says Siddhartha, we are a monetized channel, but I always say any money made off the channel goes straight back in to try and either make the channel better or pay for broadcasting, like subscriptions and whatnot. Like, to be able to watch this game, I had to use a VPN to be able to set me for S4C, which is a thing on BBC iPlayer, Sky Sport. We've got about 4 different sporting subscriptions that we have to be able to cover the multiple games. So, yeah, any money made off the channel goes straight back into it. But I still work a full-time job during the week. So, YouTube for me is more of that hobby on the weekend. But normally a very, very hectic hobby. Definitely during the World Cup. And also like February, I think, says I. And also who's going to win, says Joe. I honestly feel like Wales have got enough of a lead here that I don't think we're going to see enough of a comeback from the Barbars. That's not to say that they can't, though. Like, if any team were going to, it would be a Barbarian side who are unorthodox and a hard side to be able to predict. And we have got their early 2024 Morne, says I. And then also we have got there at the rain, wouldn't be affected or wouldn't have affected it. Would have been 388 for 10. Thrilling match and Kane would take 5 possible catches, but rain carry Pakistan to victory, says DC. And also if any teams can do it, it's the Barbars. Exactly right. If any side has got something up their sleeve, a few tricks that they will be able to pull out of the bag, it is this Barbarians outfit. And the tricky part is trying to get it right at the very start of the second half. We're going to have a look and see if there are odds for this game. So I'm curious to know if there are odds for it. And if so, what are the odds? Okay, there are not odds for it. I see that Saracens and Leinster versus Edinburgh both have odds, but not this game. I would say that Barbarians are about $21 underdogs at the moment, but that's not to say that they can't come back into it. If any team can do it, Barbars. And also now Razor in charge of the ABs. I can wear my 2011 ABs kit, says Blues Nate there as well. But yeah, it will be interesting to see the changes that come for the All Blacks, mainly because of all the extra players that we have seen added in or taken away as well. Like, there'll be a lot of new men taken to the field, a lot of older players that have made their way overseas. I see that the list is continuing to get longer. Sam Cane taking a sabbatical, although he does believe he will be back for the All Blacks. Always your favourite kit, the Rugby World Cup Amish. I like the Argentina away kit, says Ian Foster. Favourite kit? I mean, there are, of course, the classic ones, like the green and gold of the Springboks always looks very clean. Their away kit, I know a lot of people weren't happy with. Amish, who's winning on the Betterton versus Lions game, says the House of Emery's. I believe that game takes place tomorrow rather than today. So I think they've still got 24 hours or so for kicker for that one. I thought that the Fiji away kit looked quite nice, the red and black one. And AB's play 3 test matches against England. Let's go. In 2024, says Blues Nate. So plenty of excitement in the rugby world just around the corner. We will be covering those games, of course, on the channel. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Currently waiting for the second half to get back underway. I don't think we're too far away from the start of the 40 minutes. I'll be honest, that first half, the first about 18 minutes absolutely flew by, and then the game got to more of that methodical pace. Few more scrums, few more lineouts. I think that was mainly because anytime Barbarians did win a penalty, Wales, they would purposely lie on the ball, not let it get out of the breakdown. And I mean, it was very strategic. They weren't getting penalised for it. And it meant that the Barbarians weren't able to take it quickly and catch their defence out. So if they can get away with it in the second half as well, I feel like that is the thing that Wales will look to do. Try and stop that momentum from flowing. We are not too far away from the second half by the looks of it. They are just clearing the field. Look there, credits to New Zealand for making 401 for 6. And also to Zaman, says DC there. No credits to Pakistan, only to Zaman. I mean, Pakistan, though, there were still a few players who stepped up for them in that game. Like, yes, they had a few. Whereabouts are we? I'm going to look at the score in that match again. Like, they were not that one. Where are they? There we go. Like, they were 1 down at the end of the day for their batting. So, like, Zaman, he got 126. Babar Azam, he did what he needed to, 66. Not out. Shafiq struggled, unfortunately, for him. But at the end of the day, like, it was that big partnership of Zaman alongside Babar Azam that meant that the Pakistan side did have enough runs for the Duckworth-Lewis. If I'm not mistaken, your birthday is on the 2nd of December, so you're telling me you're going to do 7s on your birthday. I take it as a birthday present, says Morley Lagrange. Yeah, last year we had to delay our birthday as well, mainly because, like, with the 7s, you just have no time to be able to do anything but 7s. Like, you sleep during the day, you do the 7s from evening right through to early hours of the morning, if not lunchtime the next day. So it just means that you have no chance of being able to do anything other than the 7s. So, yeah, it's one of those commitments you have to make early. So, Yeah, I've already decided birthday's delayed. You know? Who's this? This is actually going to be Kai Evans out there on the field now. He is going to be replacing Sam Costello, I think, as the player they have decided to take off. UK betting odds, Wales 1-8, Barbars at 4, says Peter Wild there. And it will be Captain Scott Barrett or Artie Savia. Probably Artie Savia, I'd say. And your birthday, it's New Zealand and Bangladesh test match. Says DC will win. And hopefully we have Artie, Blues Nate, and no Sam Kane. And Big Angus Bell, let's go, says Ian Foster. But it is already going to be a penalty in favour of the Barbarians. That took a whole 10 seconds to give that one away. And 33 for the draw, says Peter Wild. But the quick tap has been taken by the Barbars now as Zaya Parisi finds the offload to Simeone Kuravuli. And like I mentioned, Wales were able to shut that down early on in the last half because they were lying in those breakdowns, keeping the ball in there. But that one, it was available for Sean Stevenson. And now the Barbarians look to up the tempo. Angus Bell trying to charge through the tackle attempt of Ben Carter, but he's been dragged down. Nicholas Sanchez now going back across there. Straightening run from Asafo Moore. Plays to the Hurricanes. And it's Super Rugby kicked deep from Nicholas Sanchez. Gives it off to Lee Halfpenny now. Does put the kick downfield of his own. Sits up just inside of the 22, and Sanchez does once more decide to look for the touchline. Brilliant kick from him as well. Gets it way downfield. If Imam Al-Haq played today, New Zealand would have surely won. Anyway, that's enough talk for the cricket. A lovely kick. We need some fresh meat, says I. And also we have got their world's best player, Artie Xavier, first choice captain, says Blues Nate. Yeah, quite a few early subs being made by both of these teams as the second half has started up. Now Wales with another attacking chance. Now, if they can score here, that almost shuts the Barbars completely out of the game. Who got Rugby World Cup Player of the Series? Ooh, that's a good question. I know the dream team that World Rugby released for 2023, but I'm not actually sure about the exact player who got Player of the Series. We've got a Rugby Challenge video, maybe, that we will be releasing. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to upload it yet. But it is pretty much, I put together World Rugby's dream team that they announced on Rugby Challenge, and then with the players that they didn't select, I put together my own dream team and went head-to-head with them. But I've edited it. It's ready to go, but I haven't decided whether or not we're going to be uploading it yet. You look like Josh Hazelwood, the bowler of the Aussies. Says DC will win. I'll take that. He is a lot taller than myself, though, I will say that. We've got Sam Kane's a good man and one of the hardest working ABs. And also, are you considering wearing your suit on your birthday? I am not. No, I will just stick to the hoodie probably for those ones. It always feels weird being in the hoodie now, seeing as for the World Cup we did so many streams wearing the suit and tie. Hamish looks like a young Sonny Bill Williams, says Ian Foster. And an Argentina player got Player of the Series. Do you know which player it was? I'm trying to think of who really stepped up for them. Juan Martin Gonzalez wasn't too bad, but I don't know whether or not that would have been him or not. Michael Hooper, great hands. Goes off to Eliza Drua. Cece now 22 metres out from the line here for the Barbars. And the penalty goes the way of Wales. Didn't World Rugby have 0 Bok? Says Gus, they had 1 in there. They had Eben Etzebeth. But I believe in my dream team that I made up of the players outside of who World Rugby selected, I think I had about 4 or 5 Springbok players in there. And I could have had more, but I decided to limit them just a little bit so that I had a few other nations popping up. A big kick downfield. I see taken by the Barbarians. The mustache might imply some Mexican blood, says Tar. Not that I know of anyway, but I know that on my driver's license I look like I'm like Colombian or something like that, but that was with the different haircut. I have to be the Pumas 10. Yeah, so Santiago Carreras, I think, has the best chance. Or Nicholas Sanchez probably didn't play enough, actually, to get it. So, yeah, Santiago Carreras probably relatively like it, and that's more like it, says Gus. So I guess I should ask, is that a video you guys would want to see? Me doing that game on Rugby Challenge versus the Dream Team? I will tell you, it was a very close game. Juan Martin Gonzalez says Blues Nate, and good match, says Ta. And also, Hamish, will you watch the Euros 2024 football? I might give it a look. I didn't really watch it the last time it took place, but I think that's just because of the hectic schedule that we have had. And also we got the yes and yes from Tar and Ian. And nice. There's Blues Nate there. Now rolling more for the Welsh. Played on the ground, I think is the call from the ref. But that's not a penalty. Instead, it will be play on Aaron Wainwright. Tackled low there by Angus Bell. There's a lot of contact coming in there. I think Tuparik let out a bit of a screech as he made that tackle. Now cross kick attempted here from Kai Evans. Goes over the head of Rio Dyer. Hamish got the Pablo Escobar type mustache. Narcos vibes. Says I mean, my driver's license. I do just look like I am a part of a cartel. I have to get a new photo at some stage, I think. Just to get a little bit less, I guess, suspicious by the police. Even though I don't get pulled over by the police very often. I should say, I love the minimal referee intervention. So good seeing Flying Rugby once again. You've been caught out, says Ta. And also, speaking of Pablo, his cocaine hippos are out of control right now. And don't dox yourself, says Gus. Yeah, I was looking at it, but I realised I'm not going to put it up on the screen just because someone might try and steal it. I think France, and also Hamish looks handsome with the beard. Says Mornay, although the beard still isn't quite grown the way that I'd like it to. The Barbars breaking through Angus Bell. I don't know if that man's got a beard. He's gone for the grubber from behind here, though. Here comes the foot race. Tipperick not quite able to get there. Thomas Williams. Oh, he hasn't claimed it. Kuravuli might have just scored that try for the Barbars. Angus Bell's grubbered that. Kuravuli's dove on it. Dream versus Hamish team needs George and Dad as commentators, says Franz Smith. Although we have already filmed it, unfortunately, so we haven't quite got the Dad and George duo. That's the thing, if the rugby league hadn't had so many overlaps, I think that's a competition me and Dad would have been able to cover together. So it is a shame with the time that it did take place. That's the thing, nightmares watching Angus Bell get up ahead of Steen, says Ian Foster. And also we should mention a little bit of acrobatics from Kuravuli as well at the end to be able to push himself up from being on the ground to then be in an upwards position of just standing. I don't know how he did it. It looked like he had taken some gymnastics. He dove down and then just used his momentum to flick himself up. If I tried that, I would break at least one bone. Springboks deserve the win, ABs. So many opportunities to bring it home, eh? Says Blues Nate, yeah. The TMO now to make the decision here of whether or not it is going to be a try or no try. I don't see too much wrong with it as of yet. They're off topic, but why didn't old mate Quade Cooper make the Aussie squad in the World Cup, guys? There's ice. So the reasoning from Eddie Jones, he pretty much said that he wanted to bring the next generation through. And he felt like some of those older players weren't quite stepping up the way that they should have been. And then his inexperienced Aussie side got knocked out in the group stage for the first time ever. And then he left the job because he couldn't be bothered. So, yeah, he pretty much just screwed them over is the best way of describing it. And nothing clear and obvious, Mr. Ref. Fire the TMO, you're fired. Says the Blues Nate, and close enough to be onside for sure. Says Ian Foster. So, yeah, I think this should be a try. Okay, now they're checking the tackle. See if Thomas Williams was. He's only tackled as he's got his hands on the ball. That's a try. Checking the grounding. Grounding is good. Kuravuli looked so cool when he did that. That's definitely a try, says Ian Foster. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that we had just been talking about, how free-flowing the game was. And now we've got a TMO decision being made that's been looked at 15 times that doesn't need to be looked at 15 times. I can't tell if the commentators are praising Kuravuli or not because they're speaking Welsh, but I assume they're saying that was quite cool. Box Cheetah vs France, Edsbeth Ping Pong 7 points. Colby Jump Transformation Ramos 2 points. There's AMX. And also with their Wales, we're putting their hands over Tuparik before he got to the ball too. As they can't be complaining here if they can't handle the heat. Don't get in the kitchen. So it has been awarded as a try. Kuravuli now got himself the 2 for the Barbars. I mentioned how much of a dangerous player he would be at the start of this game, and we are seeing just why here. the amount of impact he's able to have. But Angus Bell put in the boot through. That is something you normally only see in a Barbarians game. It was an effective kick. Should TMO over time limit. I think it takes a lot of momentum off the teams and kind of cools off the game every time it's used. Yeah, in some cases, it just takes far too long. They're great refereeing. We was this lad during the Rugby World Cup final, says Ian Foster, and also until Eddie does something better, his nickname should be Dumpster Fire. And also TMO have the most secure job in history. They are unfireable, not a word probably. Says it was there from I. Yeah, well, that's the thing. None of them got criticised throughout the Rugby World Cup per se. Like, I think that every TMO who made bad calls just got to do the next game as if nothing happened. But the problem was not just inconsistencies from referees, but also inconsistencies from TMOs, what they were looking for throughout games. The best game of rugby, I thought, throughout the Rugby World Cup, I believe it was actually Tonga versus Romania in terms of free-flowingness. I think we had one stoppage for TMO, and that was like 10 seconds. They went, nothing there, and then it kept playing. I think the game only took about an hour and 50 minutes. Great kicking behind, looking for the 50-22, but it's not quite going to curl the way that they needed it to. We look at their box. Cheating, 1995, 4 tries refuse. LA France. And also we have got there 2023 Box O'Keefe. Says AMX, although they didn't pick to have Ben O'Keefe as the ref, did they? So I feel like they can't be blamed for him, can they? Do you look tired, Hamish? I mean, I think I normally look tired, to be honest. I haven't quite slept that well since the Rugby World Cup, mainly because I destroyed my sleep schedule doing all of those games, and I'm yet to find it again. But, you know, we're aiming for some sleep per night. Hoping for the best. Rugby World Cup, says AMX. There's all, but now it is looking like it's going to be a scrum here. Well, in fact, it's going to be, the goal line dropout. See, Tame Plumtree is now onto the field as well here for Wales. It's like Dewey Lake making his way from the field. That will be for Elliot D. The young Kiwi Plumtree is on. Says Ian Foster. Is he still signed with Super Rugby? By the way, I know that he was playing for Wellington in the Bunnings EBC, and then he was playing for the Blues, I believe, in Super Rugby. Is he still there? Or has he gone overseas to a Northern Hemisphere club? Sam Cane not red card? No, it was. That's the thing. Like, Sam Cane's one, you cannot lead into a challenge that high up and not expect a bad outcome. So Sam Cane, like, he'll know that. I don't think there's many people debating that it was a red card at all. I think there were more people trying to say that Khaleesi's could have been a red as well, but I only saw it as a yellow. But, yeah, I think Sam Cane, you can't make that mistake of leading so upright. We've seen how many red cards have been handed out throughout this Rugby World Cup because of head-high tackles. So, yeah, it was his own fault at the end of the day. The ref can't be blamed for that one as well. Now Michael Hooper passes out wide for the Barbars. Sean Stevenson 5 metres out from the line. Nice attack in here now. Now only a few metres out. Tipperick, Kuravuli, Flatboarder, Alwyn Jones. Oh, he's reached out. And has he got the try? He's smiling about it. I think he's got the try, Alwyn Jones, in front of a Principality Stadium in what could be his last game in his illustrious rugby career. Dane plays for the Scarlets, says Ian Foster, and also Hamish All Black Cats lost after scoring 400 due to the Duckworth Lewis in the rain. Yep, did indeed. And he plays for Scarlets, doesn't he? Or the Dragons, says Ian Foster. So, yeah, Scarlets. Yeah, I've said it. Even the Welsh fans like that one, says Ian Foster. But, yeah, try for the Barbars. I should mention, this scoreboard was very wrong. It was actually supposed to be up to 17 now. They are back in the game. Who coaches the Barbars? So for this one, they've got Scott Robinson and Eddie Jones as two of the main coaches. And also, let's go Barbars. And we as Kiwis have to have hope. Some other Kiwi dad has brewed a young Dan Carter and have hope he blossoms enough to win us the 2027 World Cup. Says I, and give Alwyn Jones the try on vibes alone, says Gus. And it's been all Barbars second half. It has been. And we've got to remember, like, they've been able to catch up to Wales, and there's still 30 minutes left. We mentioned it at halftime. If any side are going to be able to do it, it's the Barbars. and they have come out firing. In the second half, Michael Hooper on the wing, showing his sevens prep is paying off. Says Ian Foster. He is one of the players who's put his hands up for sevens, isn't he? Alongside Antoine Dupont for the French, I believe he wants to take on the sevens gold medal chance at the Olympics. Congrats, Alan Wynne-Jones scored his first try against Wales, says Blues Nate. Tom Hooper now making his way on. That is for Rob Leota. Actually starting at number 4 in this game, Eliza Drouasisi. Now kicking it downfield. That's out on the full though. There's a mistake that they couldn't really afford to make. It's an error at the back from the youngster Drouasisi, of course, going to be playing for the Fijian Drua. Used to play for the Reds in Super Rugby, but the Drua giving him a new opportunity. And also Edsby, not yellow card versus New Zealand. Says AMX. I assume you're talking for that one that I think it was on Ethan de Groot, wasn't it? But like the biggest thing that you can take from that game is just if Geordie Barrett got that kick over, New Zealand get a different result. So like yes, you can nitpick at any little refereeing decision that was made throughout the Rugby World Cup, but at the end of the day, like it's engraved in the trophy. The Springboks, they had more points on the board at the end of the 80 minutes, and that is the point of rugby. So they got themselves the win. And hey, sorry, I'm late. Forgot this one was on. Says Dylan, no worries at all, mate. It is great to have you here once more. Now, Alan Wynne-Jones thought about the offload and does get it away to Rob Valentini. Now gets one of his own off to Isaiah Perezi. The space opening up. Sean Stevenson passes on the outside to Tom Hooper. Wales look out on their feet at the moment. I don't know what's happened, but there are gaps opening up. There was a poor kick in behind, though, that time from, I believe, was that Lataro Bazin Velez? Or is he not quite? I don't think he'll be on the field as of yet, but on a high wall and get over the losses. Says Victor and Stevenson Rainfart. Oh, it was Stevenson with the kick and behind. And red card, yellow card, might as well play soccer, leave rugby for the league boys, says Mr. Blues, or sorry, says Blues Nate, and Cheslin Colby, Adamsa and Moody should go play sevens for South Africa. That'd be insane. Says Ian Foster. Downfield once more. Celestina Ravatamanda has Eliza Drouasisi with him, but he instead tries to go to the short side with the draw and pass out wide to Len Akatau. And a bit more of a quieter game. Springboks, it's geopolitic rugby. Says AMX, no, it's just winning rugby. They had more points on the board in their game, so they won. That's how it works. Celestino Ravatamanda, tackled by Wainwright, as well as Elliot D. Now Lamani goes across to Tom Hooper. I wonder Eddie Jones said to the Barbarians, it certainly is working, says Monty Lagrange. I don't know if it was Eddie Jones. I think Scott Robinson probably would have been the main man doing the talking at halftime. Asaf Moore gets back up to his feet now 30 metres from the line. Kuravuli goes across to Alan Wynne-Jones. Salah dummy there from Isaiah Perezi. Ball ripped out of his hand, so it is play on. Kuravuli cleans it up for the Barbars once more. Up to 7 phases now being put together. Angus Bell, he has been an impact player and a half since making his way onto the park. And Moore has to watch that one go into touch. Barbars have tightened up in their attack, supporting each other in the ruck far, far better. We can't go back in time. It's hard. We have to look forward in the future. Rugby is looking better than ever, and that's better than winning a World Cup, mate, says I. And also, do you even comprehend what you've just said? Says Victor. Box cheated against Geopolitic Colony Invictus. I think the loss may have hit you quite hard, AMX, perhaps in this case, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, it's no water off the Springboks back, is it? Because they're world champions now. Like, at the end of the day, you got 4 years. Try and beat them once more. But, yeah. Australia win 2027. Well, now we know you're lying. No, hopefully they're better by then, but they'll need a better coach. Well, not even the coach. They just need a better rugby system in general. Celestino Ravatamana ball on the inside. Len Akatau tackled a little high from Johnny Williams. Referee says it's on the shoulder. Hamish W said New Zealand needs the luck to win the match because we might witness bad rain, says DC. I'm quite sad that my game got called off. I was going to be batting 5. I decided to let some of the other players in the team have a bit of a bat in the top order. And yeah, I didn't actually end up batting at all. So it was kind of cool though to sit on the sidelines and just watch what was happening. Nice little kip in behind. Sean Stevenson, they say it goes backwards and cleaned up by Tom Hooper. So you're telling me that Scott Robinson is the coach of the Barbarians? He certainly is. alongside, like, Eddie Jones is also in there, but Scott Robinson, any team talk that we've seen them doing, it has been Scott Robinson who's done the main part of it. Just a game, man, come on. Says Blues, Nate. Also, we're good there, not hard to work out. At halftime, Barbars told win this now. Free beer for a month. I don't know about that. Of course, says Ian Foster. I love it when the chat goes unhinged to face the unfazable Hamish. Says Franz Smith. And also, Hamish, have you been able to catch up on your sleep after the Rugby World Cup? The short answer is no, not at all. I think my sleep schedule has actually been worse since after the Rugby World Cup, which is weird because you'd think straight away it should be fixed, you know? But yeah, I'm still in the middle of a really weird sleeping pattern. So like I'll get maybe like 6 hours, which isn't too bad, but like I've got enough time now that I should be able to get more, but I just end up either editing something till like 4 a.m. or I'll end up filming something till like 3 a.m. or something like that. And then all of a sudden it's almost morning. As a lad born in New Zealand, be Indian origin, I really want New Zealand to win the World Cup, says DC. And Hamish, some people don't deserve to be on social media. I can't understand that number jumbo written by AMX. That is going to be a try though for Tame Plumtree. That gap opened up very easily. Was there any obstruction, or was it just a very bad bit of defence from the Barbars? Bringing new Sean Stevenson signs with the Dolphins for 2024. I mean, if New Zealand aren't going to give him the chance, perhaps he could make some big money overseas. So the entire world goes back to the board, and the drawing board, and works on individual talent, club level. Still, though, internationals are only going to get better from here, says Mr. Novel Bro. Right, they are going upstairs to check this one out. What will the decision be? Why was there a gap that opened up the way that it did? Wow. This is a huge shot from... Who was that? I think it was a Safa Amor. Put in a big shot on a man off the ball, which actually helped open up that gap. Yeah, it's a big shot on Elliot D. So he's probably going to get himself penalised here. Over there, Wallaby signed young lad from the Roosters of 2024, bloody Eddie. Says a Blues, Nate. Well, when's Suaalii supposed to join Union? Like, he was one that they were like, oh, we've signed him. He's coming in 2026 or 2025. And it's like, that's all well and good, but like maybe put those millions somewhere else into like trying to get more rugby players coming through the system. And when Box win, they always want to change the rules, says Denzel. Also, we got the New Zealand almost winning chances in this World Cup so far against Australia and Pakistan. Says DC will win. Alan Wynne Jones is not happy. So the try will stand. I'm not too sure what's going to happen from here. I don't know whether or not that's going to become a penalty on halfway afterwards, or if it's just going to be a try standing. But 28 points to 19 now as the score. Wales extending their lead. I didn't like Alan Wynne Jones. We played for Wales against New Zealand, but I like him when he's on our team. And this is a close one, says Joe. It certainly is. That was a huge shot from Asafa Moore. To be able to smash the man without the ball. Hi, Hamish. If you had to do a Springbok versus the rest of the world team, who would be in the rest of your world team? Geez, that's a question, isn't it? We actually did a video that we haven't released yet. I was talking about it a bit earlier on, but World Rugby released a dream team, which was 5 Irishmen, 5 French players, 4 All Blacks, 1 Springbok. And I actually made a team of other players who I felt had a very good 2023 and then played them in a match. And I had a few Springboks in there, so I'm thinking about releasing it at some stage soon if that is something you guys are keen on. It ended up being a very close game. I got nervous by the end. Life goes on in rugby. And congratulations Australia O'Keefe in 2027. Says AMX. And Australia win 2027. Congratulations. Applause. Says AMX. It sounds like you got to put your money on them now, AMX. I lock it in. We've got the imagine what everyone else imagines. Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere. Battle of the Earth equator. When it faces the aliens. Says I. I've actually read all the chat. I thought that there was a message I missed, so I was reading through. But no, we are up to date. Scrum feed now for the Welsh here on the halfway line. I think if Wales score one more try, they win this game. Because we've seen Barbarians get themselves 2 tries back to back, but I think one more would just be too much of a lead. Definitely if it's converted, that would put them up to 35 points here for the Welsh. Any fishing recently, says Dylan? I actually did go... Okay, so it was on the 3rd of November, New Zealand. So it was kind of yesterday for me, but we've actually ticked over past midnight, so it was the day before. But yeah, Friday, New Zealand, I went fishing with my dad for his birthday. And I caught a trout on the first cast, which sounds like a lie, but it's not. But yeah, after that, we caught nothing else. Had a few fish about, but yeah, just the very first cast, that was it. Did Rio Dyer score a try yet? Not quite, I don't believe. We've seen Tom Rogers score. And I think we've also seen out on the other wing quite a bit of success coming, but I'm not sure if Dyer's got him one. And love me a good brown trout. I'm actually sad for you, mate. You guys failed to win the World Cup final. I was having guts. Hope you guys win the next rugby. Says France football fan. Is that fly fishing or conventional? So it was conventional that we were doing. Quick tap taken by the Barbars. The ref says not on the mark. Kotovoli throws the ball at the referee and it hits him in the head. We have got there Georgia Type 5, AB's Lucy's South African halves, Irish centres, AB's and South African wingers, DMAC at fullback, says Peter Wild. We have got there Fan, don't worry, it's only Ian Foster, says Blues Nate. And also, how do you know it's me? Your name? I think is the wait, me or them? 20 minutes left, says Joe. Yep, 20 minutes remaining now in this contest. They showed Eddie Jones and he got booed around the ground. Ian Foster, what are you up to now? Are you not the AB's coach? And also you told me, says Blues Nate. Now I'll suffer more. Now I'll line this one up. I'm trying to make some yen, baby, says Ian Foster. Nicely claimed by the Barbars. Now 25 metres from the line, 15 metres from the line. Alwyn Jones with a piercing round the side of the breakdown. Gets within 10. Wainwright loses his footing. I should mention Shingler has now made his way onto the field. That is for Rob Ballatini. Now that is a name that wasn't initially in the side, so I assume that is for Apia Ratanayarawa, who was supposed to be playing. Instead it is Shingler now. And New Zealand bowling is so bad, their batting is good so far, says DC. Currently 9 points difference between these two sides. Yep, so Shingler to replace Rob Ballatini. Oh, I was about to hear what they were saying in terms of why he was brought in, but then I realised they were speaking Welsh. Because they said his name in English, and I was like, yep, why is he in there? Why haven't they Ratanayarawa? And then they started speaking Welsh again, and I have no idea what was said. Here in Barbarians can pull it off somehow. I think, like we said at halftime, if any side can, it's the Barbars. They are only 9 down. So if they can score another try, I'd say before 75 minutes, they've still got a very good chance. But if Wales score one more, I think it's game over. I think they'll be able to just hang on in terms of points. Who would you rather tackle, Amor or Valentini? Well, it's like tackling a brick wall in both cases. I'd probably say Valentini because Amor's very compact, isn't he? So, like, it's going to hurt either way, but I think Valentini would be not the easier one to tackle, but the one that you're less likely to catch a knee to the face for. Eddie Jones must be the enemy to many people, says Morne Lagrange, and also time to pack it up, Fozzie, because we're going to raise the roofs, says Blues Nate. I would tackle the cheerleader girls, Oosh, and Valentini for sure, says I. Now it is going to be going back for another advantage. Did I just hear him say yellow card 16? Is that what he said? Yep, late tackle 16, yellow card. So Asafa Moore has gone to the bin. So that is a decision that's been made without a TMO even needing to be involved. So Moore, that's the second time he's put in a late shot. So referee said, nah, you're off. Also, the player that gives the All Blacks, give it the last minute of Rugby World Cup final was disgrace. Why was their main player was injured? South Africa really selfish. So the player that the All Blacks give at the last minute Rugby World Cup final was disgrace. Why was their main player was injured? Give at the player that the All Blacks give at the last minute. What does that mean? As in all I can think of is like under nines in terms of how you're like when they're short you give them one of your subs. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. Don't know about that. Cool, nice one, Wales 6. Keep rolling on the ground. Says Ian Foster. With Blues are a much better option. Says Peter Wild. And also, I'm French, as not French people playing French team football. It's box. Says AMX. Also, Ian Foster and Hamish said, yep, at the same time. Says DC. Now, kicking this one for the touchline, it is Kai Evans. I'm still confused about your last one, DC, to be honest. 10 metres out. Wales with the rolling ball opportunity with the man advantage as well here. So one more try would seal the deal. Hamish and I are on the same wavelength, says Ian Foster. And also, we're there, high five, says Blues Nate. 16, or in fact 17 and a half minutes left now. Nicely thrown into Adam Beard. Slowly starting to move here for Elliot D. Tupou back on, says Ian Foster. Yeah, must not have been too serious, you'd assume, for Taniela Tupou. That is a new advantage there. 7-side entry, now Wales. I think that they'll kick this one for the corner once more, maybe even back their scrum. No, they take the quick tap. Elliot D with the fend. Smashed in the tackle by Michael Hooper. As well as Taniela Tupou. And Razor going to break dance after the 2027 final. Mark my words, folks. Win or lose, Razor will break dance and break the internet. And also, beware of Tupou's socks. And you're supposed to wear club socks with the Barbars. Normally. Why, what colour socks does Taniela Tupou have on? I'm trying to look around for him. At the moment, I think it's he normally has like ankle socks or something. But I like, oh, big shot there coming in. It was Andrew Callaway making that tackle. 5 metres out for the line. Aaron Wainwright look for the pass. It's actually going to be a knockdown from Andrew Callaway. Flick pass out the back to Tom Rogers. Taken off the ball was Kuravuli. They will have to check that one, although they're going to say try. And that will be an interesting one because we saw a little bit of everything in there. I think Andrew Callaway actually gave him a bit of a knock or a bit of a rub on the head afterwards. Well, and also we have got there, well, says Joe, and also thanks Mod, says Gus, and also bye, have a great life, says Blues neighbour Aaron Wainwright. He is going to get himself the try there. What happened to Kuravuli? Are they going to check? Yeah, he just gets bodied by Kai Evans. We've got there, yeah, he's got ankle socks on. Here we go, we're going to see the replay now. Tame Plumtree taken Kuravuli, I should say, down. And I don't know if the try will stand or not. I think they're checking it once more. And how can I watch this? Here's Bucks, so it is on BBC iPlayer. And it's on a channel which is S4C. If you're in Wales, I believe you can just watch it straight on S4C as well. And also we have got their consistency ref. Says Ian Foster, well, I guess it's game. The last 15 minutes, Hail Mary from the Barbarians. And that kick has gone over. That now makes the score 35 points in 19. But yeah, they will feel a little bit hard done by with conceding that try. Although Callaway, it could have ended up being a penalty try for him deliberately knocking the ball down anyway. But I think Kuravuli, there was quite a bit of obstruction on him from Tane Plumtree. Okay, I was just listening to the commentary and then I realised it was Welsh. I heard Jamie Roberts and I was like, oh, what are we going to find out from him? And then I realised he's also speaking Welsh. New Zealand 14, box 16. So here's AMX. Yeah, I think the Barbarians, they need to score a try before the 70th minute to have a really good chance. And England about to lose another game in the Cricket World Cup, and this time Australia is going to beat them. So here's Morne Lagrange. Looks like now Ben Donaldson to make his way onto the field. That is to replace Nicholas Sanchez, and also it is going to be a sub of Kuravuli. He is making his way off, and then also it will be Lataro Bazambalez to make his way on. I honestly thought the Barbars would destroy Wales. New Zealand play the final 14 to the box 16. I can tell that was what you were trying to refer to, but you did have to retype it, didn't you? So everyone else had an idea. I guess it's time to bust out the bagpipes, and thanks for all the memories, Lee. Lee Halfpenny for the last time making his way from the field. Quite the player. Felt he should have had more time throughout the Rugby World Cup because he was in some very good form. Anyone who can hear that, it is me clapping, by the way. It's not something else happening down there. But Lee Halfpenny, a massive career from him. Gets a handshake from the touch judge as he makes his way from the field. And as my Fijian boys, Kuravuli scored 2 tries. For the Barbars, he has looked very strong. We haven't seen a huge amount of Celestino Ravatamanda. But in the times that we have seen him, he's looked good. Drew Cece struggled a little bit, to be honest. And Ikanaveri had a couple good early runs. So, yeah, overall pretty decent for the Fijians who have been playing in this contest. Cheers, Lee, says Gus. An absolute legend of the game. Definitely deserves a standing ovation. And good to be back to normal. My bot completed their road trip here in Durban today. Hectic, but brings closure. Says productivity by design. And top man, says Ian Foster. Must say this is the hardest year for me. I saw New Zealand lose the Rugby World Cup. Got an upset defeat by Pakistan in the cricket and saw them lose to South Africa by 199 runs. Man, I might say me and you are having a hard time. Says DC and also Legends. Lee Halfpenny on papers. Barbars should have trounced, but Wales have cohesion in the team, says Peter Wild. And it just shows the importance of when a side has been playing together, how much chemistry can help you in a game of rugby. Now Shinger puts the ball on the outside to Michael Hooper. Awkward bouncing ball. Celestino Ravatamanda tried to go for it, but does get cleaned up in the process. The Barbars, they win themselves the penalty. 22 metres out from the line. I mentioned if they can score before 70 minutes, they've got a good chance of going on to still win this game. Finding the offload. Alan Wynne-Jones tries to go to Tupou, but he puts it down. There's going to be the advantage now, though, in favour of the Barbarians. Adam Baird has his hands on the ball. They'll go back for the scrum. Only 5 metres from the try line. But Alan Wynne-Jones almost had his second try of this matchup. Schlinger, nice run and nice offload to Alan Wynne-Jones. Almost, if he had fallen onto his back, he might have had a decent chance of getting that one. Let's go, Alan Wynne-Jones. Man looks like he's 40. I've been playing like a 20-year-old, says Ian Foster. And also box supporter says AMX. 12 minutes remaining now, though. Barbars down by a total of 16, which means theoretically they need 2 tries and a penalty to be able to win this game. That is a lot to ask in the last little while's brilliance and surprise. It can get you far, but it's hard to plan around, says Gus. Black Caps are fire at batting, but are bad at bowling, so they might concede hard target, but you can't underestimate them, says DC. And yeah, their game up against Sri Lanka, massively important for what they can do throughout this Rugby World Cup, through this Cricket World Cup, because if they don't get it right, there is a high chance that we see Pakistan actually make their way through, or Afghanistan. There's actually 2 sides that have a brilliant chance of making their way through. Barbars, like I say, bees are too much individual talent, not enough chemistry, says I. And Michael Hooper, another player who has been taken off the field. I thought that was Michael Hooper anyway. But I think there's been a bit of a change. I think Bazam Velez, he is still out there. Not sure how many subs the Barbars have, but I think if Michael Hooper went off, that is one too many. Unless someone else made their way back out onto the field. Now, awkward ball. Kai Evans doesn't manage to clean it up. Now running to the short side. Rio Dyer with the spinning. Clean out in the breakdown. From Wales, Lee Halfpenny is a legend for Welsh rugby. He certainly needs an applause. Says Morne Lagrange. And also the Barbar dropping an extra time to win, says Gus. Tell you what, that would bring excitement. It's not coming home, get over it, mate, says JP. Now scrum feed, 22 metres out from the line. This is all using up time, though, which, of course, the Barbarians do not have a lot of left in this match. Only about 660 seconds. Now, that does not sound like a long time, but interesting. See how it goes. Like this and like that. There we go. And also we have got there, if New Zealand needs to qualify, South Africa and Australia must beat Afghanistan and England. Must beat Pakistan, and New Zealand must beat Sri Lanka. Yeah, they need to beat Sri Lanka by a large margin because that run rate, that net run rate, could be crucial in the later stages. And if they do then look at head-to-head, it doesn't look too flash for New Zealand. And Barbars only has 1 week of training. I think they don't combine with their performance. Says Bucks, yeah, they have struggled to be able to find that cohesion across their team, which, I mean, is always going to be the case when you've got a Barbarian side that have only just been thrown together for a very short amount of time. They have got themselves another penalty here, though. Another decision to be made. What happened to Talupe Falatau? He's not in the Wales framework anymore. Unfortunately, injured is the case for him. Like, he was... he was in the Rugby World Cup, but sadly ended up with that injury that has stopped him from being able to play. I think he's injured anyway. I could be wrong. Devon Conway is trash, so Kane and Rutchin should be openers. They bowl first. They can get 10 wickets. Says DC. Now 5 metres out from the line. Okay, I don't remember seeing him. Says Ian Fossey. I think he played the first 3 or 4 games. I think Hamish and DC are engaged in cricket chat. What's that tell you? Or the rest of us don't get it. Says Peter Wild. I'll be honest, I'm only really reading it because, like, he's putting it, to be honest. But, yeah, I don't know whether or not we've got any Cricket World Cup live streams around the corner. If I did, it would be with my parents. That's the one thing that I've said that I would want to do. He broke his arm against Argentina. Oh, okay, so that was in the quarterfinals that he ended up injured. Yeah, I don't know anything about cricket otherwise I'd engage. Says Ian Foster. And also, certainly New Zealand can beat Sri Lanka in the Cricket World Cup, says Mornay. I mean, Georgia, says the conversation station. See, that's a hard game as well to end up with an injury in. Because theoretically, Wales had already done the hard work by then. Now a big run from Sean Stevenson. Counter-attacking chance for the Barbars. Sadasino Ravatamanda tackled well by Kieran Hardy. Now Buzzin Velez gets it across to Tom Hooper. Time left now, 9 minutes. My tongue went in all sorts of random directions there. Yeah, 9 minutes remaining on the clock. Buzzin Velez again. Little chip in behind, attempted. Beautifully taken by Thomas Williams, was it? Or in fact, it might have been the replacement for him, Hardy. Now Thomas Williams kicks it in behind. Out on the full, though. Rainfart Donaldson, says Ian Foster in there as well. We'll go like this, like that. Seeing if I can find any odds for this game. Because currently, I mentioned about at halftime how much of an underdog the Barbars would be. They'll be even more of one now, of course, but who knows? We have got there, I know, it was Parisi. He's been good this game as Parisi, and it's over, says Joe. And also we were there, the Cheesecake is the consistent Batman right now, so Bolt needs to be focused. Okay, I do like Cheesecake, to be fair. We have got there, I'm off to sleep. Good night, Hamish in chat. Says URC match are you going to do next? Says Mono Lagrange. So the next game that we've got for the URC, I believe, is Benetton versus Lions. We at least want to do that game, hopefully. Now, I can't guarantee it, mainly because if I'm working Monday morning, then it's going to be a tricky one to be able to cover. Mainly because the game takes place at about 2 or 3 a.m. New Zealand time, and I'll be starting work at about 7:30. So we'll see. Hopefully, we are going to be covering that one, though. Surely 10 minutes is up on that yellow now. Yeah, it must be very close for Rosafo and Moore to be back out there on the field. Love a try with 14 men on the field. I honestly forgot about that yellow card up until you mentioned it, Ian. I think it's because we didn't see the official, like, he didn't really show us that he gave him the card. Celestino Ravatamanda going off to the short side to Tipuric. Now only 25 meters, out from the line. Does anyone know what happened to Israel Dag? I do not know. Oh, big run from Tongan Thor. Finds the offload to the Kanaveri, but he just lost his footing. Just short of the try line now. But Buzzin Velez going across to Angus Bell. The rush defence from Wales for now will hold up. Now the ball's loose. Buzzin Velez goes off to Sean Stevenson. Finds the offload to Donaldson. It's going to be play on. And take care, Tesla. Enjoy your week, lad. And as we go there, Nate Fozzie, cheers. Says, these Aussie props playing rugby league out here. Yeah, I mean, the impact has been with Tupou and Angus Bell grubbing him behind from the Barbars. Doesn't work out, and they've given the ball away. And now it is forced by Thomas Williams. Goal line dropout. That was a mistake from the Barbarians. Trying to play a little bit too fancy. Now Thomas Williams goes for the grubber kick. And it's picked up. What a mistake that is. Thomas Williams just gifted a try. Tried to go 5 meters from the line. Little grubber. And then Tom Hooper cleaned it up. Scored the try. And now the Barbarians are back in the game. That is a dire mistake there from Thomas Williams. Thanks for the stream. It's damp and dismal outside. So it was a great distraction. Says Eric. So Thomas Williams, he grubbed it at the 5 meters. Then leaves the all. Did Tom Hooper knock that ball on though? Are they going to check it? Is it going to be alright? Looks like it has been cleared. And now the score. 35-26. What's the time in y'all's country? Says the DC. Also, why am I awake at 5:20 a.m? I think I slept around at 6:50 p.m. Says DC, and it's currently 5:21 a.m. And I just realised AMX is still going on about his thing. I hadn't even been reading his messages, so he's committed to his craft, of course. Look at that 4 minutes, says Joe. Currently 5. That clock a little bit ahead. 13:20. Says Mikhail there. For the time. The Safa is back out there on the field. Now the Barbarians, that is the half chance that they needed because it was a mistake by kicking that ball away to the opposition, but then gifted the chance to get back into the contest. Now back across this left-hand side, Len Ikatau. One side of the 22, Buzzin Velez tries the sniping run. Back up to his feet, gets it away to a Safa Moore, who breaks through 2 tackles. He has got men with him. Now finds the offload to Celestino Ravatamanda. Offloads it back to Buzzin Velez, makes the mistake while defence WTF is happening. Says Ian Foster there, and also 12:21 on the eastern coast of the USA. It's going to be a red line out. 4 minutes left. For the Barbarians to win this game, they would need some form of points in the next 2 minutes or so. What URC match are you doing? Says Connor. So if we do end up doing another game from this weekend, it would end up being Benetton versus the Lions. But that is dependent on whether or not I am starting work early Monday. Because, yeah, we're going to be up pretty much from the end of this live stream right through to... I'm not too sure what time it is actually going to be, but probably about that start of that live stream if we do end up doing it. Sean Stevenson strips the ball away. Look for the offload. There was no one there. Gives it straight back to Wales. And now on the counter-attack, Ben Donaldson bumped out of 1 tackle. Another offload from Williams. Goes to Dyer on the halfway line. Tom Rogers ducks to the ground. Any chance of any updates on league between England and Tonga? I know at half-time it was 14-0. For the English, and now by the looks of it, at 80 minutes full time, it is 26 points to 4 in favour of England. So yeah, I think England take that series 3-0, if I'm not wrong. Big run forward there. Donaldson trying to tackle too high. Got bumped off easy peasy. And daylight savings ends tonight in the USA. Says Gus and New Zealand are nice in cricket. They are badass at football and rugby. They fight all the time. And this is hectic. Says Ian Foster there. And damn, thank you, Hamish. Says Blues native bro Donaldson needs a little bit of work on his tackling technique. Yeah, it was never going to work, was it? But now Alan Wynne-Jones, he has received player of the match. Definitely deserved, even though he's not on the side to have more points on the board. He's had a massive shift today, and he's an absolute legend of the Welsh rugby game. Going head-to-head with his side in this contest. They are still giving him the round of applause, though. I wonder if it would be the way, though, if the Barbarians were leading, would they still have as much applause? Probably. At the end of the day, it's Alan Wynne-Jones. Deserved for sure. Says Ian Foster, but now 5 metres out from the line here. Wales with 2 minutes remaining and another line-out opportunity. Nicely taken at the front by Tane Plumtree. Elliot D joining at the back. Penalty advantage in favour of the Welsh, and they will get the penalty. Do they go back and take this one quickly, or do they just decide to close out this game? We have got there. Hamish, who would be in your Barbarians cricket team? Ooh, that's a great question. It would depend on, of course, who they were playing in terms of determining who I would have, but it's a concept that I don't think they've really looked at, have they? Maybe could be an idea for the future. I guess team rugby versus team cricket's kind of like Barbarians versus Barbarians here in New Zealand. Round the side, Wales over the line. Kieran Hardy will get another. And that might just be the last play of the day. In fact, we might have time for one more try. Or one more play after that one. Ben Stokes, Kane Williamson, Richard Ravindra, Pat Cummins, Steve Smith, Aidan Markram to rescue New Zealand at the World Cup. Says DC. And also, I'm going to watch Aussie face England, says DC. So we will see you later on. And well done, Wales, says Ian Foster. And there's usually a week or two when the alignment is different. It's messing with you, says Gus. And good game all, says Ian Foster. Yeah, high scoring contest between these two sides. And, player leaving his feet for Wales, although he didn't have anyone in front of him, so I think that is why it was just play on in that case. The Barbars need to score a try, so Alan Wynne-Jones can kick the conversion. Wales now to line up their kick. It is Kai Evans. 10 seconds remaining on the clock, so we do still have time for one more play, ladies and gents. Hopefully, we get one more try rather than the ball just going into touch, although it will be the Barbarians who are kicking this one off. I feel like in the spirit of the game, Wales won't want to just put this ball out, definitely because they now have got themselves a bit of a lead here. So I think they would much rather have one last play, because for a lot of these guys, this will be their last performance in quite a bit of time. Unless, of course, the URC, quite a few players will be going back in that one. They should enter the Barbarians team into the World Cup. Should be fun. Says JB, but it's kicked off by Alan Wynne-Jones there. Rather than having him kick it at the post, he gets to do the drop kick to start us back off in the 80th minute. No sneeze today, Ames, you okay? Says Peter Wild. Yeah, for some reason the hay fever. I think it's just because we've had thunderstorms and lightning and all sorts. So, yeah, we haven't really had the weather for hay fever. Now Kieran Hardy off to the left-hand side. Skip pass out wide. Nice run from Jack Morgan. Close to the touchline. Keeps the ball in the field of play. And it will be play on for the Welsh. A rush defence there from Schlinger. Has done well. And thanks, mate. I really enjoy listening in. Says Tar. And we got plenty more coming in the future, whether that is going to be the URC. Also the Sevens is coming back soon. Here comes Tom Rogers. Down the wing. Skip pass on the inside. Hardy will get another one. I'm curious to know. I don't think they're allowed to do this. But if they were, wouldn't it be lovely if they let Alan Wynne-Jones take the last Welsh penalty? Or last Welsh conversion? I don't think they can, though. I think that then they'd be considered match fixing and all that kind of thing. But I feel like for his retirement, are they allowed? They wouldn't be allowed to, surely. We'll get them in trouble. Thanks, Kiwi lads. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Says Blues Nate. Kieran Hardy scores the try. Are now celebrating. Kick is over from Kai Evans, and that will be the end of the game. Wales winning it 49 points to 26. You always know you get in a high-scoring game with the Barbars, and that is what we've had here. Just not quite enough defensive work at times from this Barbarians team, and perhaps that could be put down to the fact that they have only been together for a short period of time. But once again, we saw why Wales, I mean, they'll consider themselves unlucky in those Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. They've got potential for the future. They've got a good group of players. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for them. And thank you, Hamish. And thanks for the great content, Hamish. Hope everybody has a great day. Says Mikhail. And there as well. And please tell me no one is betting on the Barbars game. Says Gus. I'd like to think that they wouldn't be, but I think it's possible on some betting agencies to bet on it. Big love to everyone from all over the world. And kia kaha whānaus and the French. I like losing to Southern Hemisphere teams in the football and the rugby. Says JP. And I also see you folks saying Hamish. Says Peter Wild there. So yeah, that video that I talked about of the Dream Team versus my World XV hopefully will be out in the next couple days or so, ladies and gents. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. We've got the URC next weekend. Then we are getting very close to the Sevens with the Oceania Sevens kicking off for next weekend. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys for the next one.